Hey, much love, respect, and appreciation. This is another live stream. Things have been a little bit delayed in the background because we have some obvious haters who are directly on the platform. But again, much love, respect, and appreciation to a lot of those haters. You make the channel great. But here we're going to look over a few videos again, talking about the fact how those in the Latin community specifically feel or look at Black Americans, and how a lot of them feel directly entitled to the help, right? Or to the energies to try to uplift a lot of those who are having difficulties and a lot of problems. But to put a little bit of an explanation on some of the things that I've talked about before, where it deals with the racism, the colorism, and a variety of things that are within the Latin community. I'm going to let this man specifically speak first.
Just so you know, Mexico is extremely racist. So we have what are
To Guatemalans.
even to its own Mexicans. So you got to remember, Mexico was dominated by Spaniards. The only reason I look the way I look
Yes.
is because I'm 65% Spaniard.
Yeah.
Mexicans, like real Mexicans, or which is known as Mexica, not Mexico,
Yes.
Mexica, are 5'4", super dark with big noses and the heads pushed back. Aztecs and Mayans.
Like Indians.
Like
You mean?
Indians.
Yes.
Well, we're natives, right?
Yeah.
So we're blended. So the reality is in Mexico till this day, if you are not light complected, somewhat tall, you're frowned upon to this day. And by the way, they're very open about it. It's not like it's a secret. It's not like it's a hidden.
Yeah.
You're short and you're dark, and we don't like you. So the fact that it's so funny to me that Mexicans cry racism when.
So we heard that, right? And he was going to go into the fact of stating that it's very interesting and funny that Mexicans want to cry racism when it's they themselves that are the utmost racist when it deals with just their own people, just initially, just their own people. And then it gets even worse when you're looking at other people, such as Black Americans, right? But to put a little bit more context onto this, and this one is more specifically geared towards Black women, because this content creator, who is a female Mexican, she had quite a few words for at least one Black American woman directly out there, and then for those out there in general. But let's take a look at what she stated.
I think it's funny how everybody's true colors are coming out, especially the Black people, because y'all are quick to forget what country you guys flee to shelter when you were slaves. You're quick to forget when Black Lives Matters movement was happening, who was right there next to y'all. Y'all quick to forget that every time you guys are out there protesting for your rights, who was right there next to y'all. Now y'all out here making videos talking about like, let's sit this one down. But you're also quick to talk shit on us. And then when we say something, you're quick to play the victim card and say, well, you're being when y'all are starting it. But to each their own.
No, because somebody.
Now, hold on. Now, I just want to try to figure out, because she listed a few things that they were there for. I want people to understand, if you've been here long enough, I've done long form videos where I've showcased the fact that Mexicans who are older than her, who are basically her grandparents or great grandparents, have specifically stated how it is that they fought, her forefathers fought, in order to be categorized as white. If you wanted to call them anything else but that, it would then be deemed or considered as racist. So again, these are the exact same people who cry about racism, but are the most racist themselves, especially when it deals with their own people, especially if they are darker complected. Again, she's a light Mexican wanting to talk about Black people being racist because they wanting to sit this one out. They wanting to step back. But then she's like, oh, well, remember when we did this for y'all and yada, yada, yada. But and again, anybody who's been here long enough, remember the video that I put out to y'all where the elders were specifically speaking on segregation, and they were stating the fact that they were never segregated. It doesn't matter how dark they were. Those who were Mexicans, Cubans, Latins, they were directly with the whites, while the Blacks were in the back of the class, or they were segregated away from the schools. They were segregated in the buses, segregated in the lunchrooms, segregated in the communities. But the Latins, the Puerto Ricans, the Cubans, all of them were able to live within these white communities because they were considered white. So again, it's a little bit weird for her to try to list all of these things as if, Mexicans, Latins, and everybody else been really pushing black people forward since their existence, which again, that's not how that works. You might have shown up for a few things, but where were you for the overarching amount of history that black Americans had to walk by themselves, by their lonesomes? The Arabs weren't there, Africans weren't there, Latins weren't there. It's a lot of y'all that wasn't there, but magically at this moment in time, y'all want to pile on and y'all want to jump on this bandwagon to make it seem like y'all were just 100% supporting black Americans their whole existence. False. But let's continue.
He needs to come educate her. Because you know how many times we've been writing with y'all? You know how many times y'all went out protesting for your rights and we were right there next to y'all?
Well, since you want to talk like that, none of us have asked, and none of you Negroes for none of us have asked, and none of the Negros for nothing. Okay, we have not said join our fight. But if you're gonna sit this one down, sit down and shut the fuck for once.
How funny, you wanna call me Gore that bitch, but you're over here looking like this. You look like a man, babe. But Oh, and since you wanna learn Spanish so bad, tú eres una puta gorda que aparte de negra eres naca.
So, Junior, you wanted to roll up and you wanted to tell me to stop lying. I have no reason to lie. I literally, this is how I know that a lot of y'all are Johnny come latelys when I happen to speak on stuff that I've continuously spoken. I at least did live streams about this for about like a good week, at least straight, almost. And I brought up, I'm not sure if you're Mexican or not, but you might want to go back and look at those videos before you decide to speak here. It's great that you're in Los Angeles and you tend to have this quote unquote black and brown. Los Angeles is not the whole rest of the United States. And even within Los Angeles, it's not the whole of Los Angeles. I can sit up there and tell you that because I've even brought up articles. I've even brought up news stories where you've had the Latins or the Mexicans wanting to take lives, and you had the gangs there wanting to, get people directly out of their black neighborhoods and so on and so on and so on and so on and so on. So again, I don't have a reason to lie. People can happen to Google a lot of the things that I talk about, or they can just so happen to look at some of the previous videos that I've done in order to see a lot of these Mexican elders. Again, Junior, I've read directly from a book where it talked about the first waves of the Cuban immigrants that came over, the first 3 waves. And do you know how those Cubans got treated by the white Americans? Great. They got treated almost perfectly, as a matter of fact, because you know why? No matter how dark complected they were, no matter how light they were, because they were different from the black Americans, they were able to get things that black Americans weren't able to get. You guys, your people, were able to go directly into segregated hotels and be with the whites. You were able to go on segregated beaches and be with the whites. You were able to go into the segregated neighborhoods and be directly with the whites, along with the schools, along with the buses, along with the restaurants. And you know what else is also so funny about that? When the Cubans came directly over, the government was also backing over 55 of their storefronts down there in Florida, giving them money. Do you know what black Americans were getting? Nothing. Do you know what those Cubans were getting when they were first setting foot onto American soil? They were getting things for children's assistance. They were getting things for housing. They were getting vouchers, right? They were getting small business loans. They were getting everything that a lot of people are getting at this moment in time that people complain about because they're like, black people are lazy. You guys just want handouts, this, that, and the third. But yet Cubans were getting this way before us. But everybody has the gall to roll up and try to say that black Americans are lazy and black Americans don't want to work for anything, when it's a lot of other people that first just set foot here, just come here. They get all of these niceties because they themselves want to be considered white. They themselves want to be honorary because they themselves don't like the color of their skin, but then they want to turn around like this woman here and they want to start talking negatively about black Americans. Again, let me just roll this back real quick. Again, this is a Mexican woman, right, who had a disagreement with a black woman online, and she opted to show the picture of the black woman that she was having a disagreement with, and she wanted to start talking about how she looks. Now, where is the lie on that? Explain that to me. This is a Mexican woman that is specifically talking negatively about a black woman who had a disagreement about what it is that she specifically said about how black people are stepping away and yada yada yada. So that black woman made a response. And this Mexican woman's response is to talk about her in a physical type of way. Not to go after the words, not to verbally attack the words, but you verbally wanted to attack how it is that the black woman looks. Does that not speak of colorism? Does not speak of racism? Because let's notice the black woman there has a wider nose, right? Correct. It's somewhat similar to what the first video that I gave you of the Mexican man that was speaking was stating that, hey, I'm in a sense this and I'm that. But the original Mexicans are about 5'4", they're very dark complected, wide nosed, right? So in a sense, this black woman would be reflective of that. But do you think that this light, close to white Mexican woman would care anything about that? No, because she is actually racist. Why is that? Because she has more of a European type of nose. Look at that feature that she has. She feels that she is superior to the darker complected people directly out there, be it her own or black Americans. And also she has her light skin as well. But like I said before, a lot of people want to roll up and they want to pull up and they want to feel that I'm lying because I'm showing proof of what it is that I'm talking about. I have books where their own people are specifically telling the stories. I have videos detailing their elders talking about how it is that they were during the facts of segregation and how it is that they were treated. But magically, as a black American, I don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm somehow a liar when people can easily look up anything that I just so happen to talk about. Okay. Let's continue.
Yo, what's good? This video right here, I'm making it for black people. That's right, black people. You know how y'all black people look at us and say, damn, why is Chico driving that badass truck? Why is Amigo having that badass car? You know how that is? We stick together. Us Hispanics, we work together. We help each other out. As a Hispanic, you know what I have seen with black people? You guys always trying to compete against each other. Who's got the better car? Who's got the better truck? Who's got the better bitch? Always comparing each other's shit. Always trying to fight each other. Always trying to put each other down. Y'all need to work together, like us Hispanics do. That's the difference between Hispanics and black people. That's why a Hispanic starts a business. Most of the time he's successful because he's not doing it all by himself. He's got help. We work together. Y'all black people need to do that. Stick together, help each other out. Stop the fucking competing. That's not helping. Peace.
So this is my problem. This is my one problem. So I'll say it like this. Within a piece of information that he stated, he would be correct. The other parts that he was listing in there about the competing and this and that, that's more so just what men happen to do. Any men of any ethnicity, if they happen to have something, men are going to sit up there and show off. Men are going to sit up there and compete. Men are going to sit up there and flex. That's not really something that is so specific when it deals with the black community. But I guess because people want to always bring up the black community, they always want to talk about something instead of actually talking about themselves and their people. This is what tends to actually happen. Because I'll say this, if, as he stated, the Mexicans and the Latins happen to stick directly together, then why is it that a lot of the Latin platforms on YouTube, IG, TikTok, and wherever else that people happen to go to, push out their platform, why is it that a lot of these folks are quiet during this time? Some of the biggest and the brightest platforms, why are they so quiet seeing what it is that their people are going through? Oh, that's right, I forgot, because a lot of you guys voted for your own people to get deported. So what was it about sticking together again? that he wanted to say, because he wanted to bring black people up in order to say like, hey, us Mexicans, we're way better than blacks because we're a community and we stick together, we work together. How much of you guys work together in order to get Trump into office and to deport your own people? How many of you guys actually work together? Because last time I checked, black people didn't do that, right? We didn't specifically just all in unison, 90+% of us just overwhelmingly voted for Trump to get him in office, to get you guys up out of here. You know who did do that? Both the white people that you think that those are your guys, that you want to be shoulder to shoulder, you want to be right next to, you want to have that branding, and then your own people who are racist against the darker complected ones who are specifically in your community. Those are the individuals. Those are the people who decided to do all of this. So again, it's very funny how a lot of the time when I happen to see Latins, Mexicans directly online and they want to sit up there and speak about a topic, somehow, some way, because they know that that topic is boring and it's not going to carry any weight, it's not going to go anywhere, they decide that, in order to do this, I have to bring up Black Americans. I have to sit up there and specifically bring them up and talk about them in order to get any type of light, any type of attention, specifically and directly to any of the videos or the topics that I have, because we all know that if Black people are not at the center, if Black people are not there, nobody's really tuning in. Nobody's going to really have an opinion. There's not going to really be a comment section. There's not going to be a thread of 1,000 people wanting to go back and forth. There's not going to be any type of arguments. There's not going to be any type of engagements. So again, this is the exact same one that I brought up to you guys before, where he was sitting up here complaining, talking about, oh, Black people, you guys don't want to help us. You guys don't want to, back us up, all this other type of stuff. So here we go again, another video of him deciding that he wanted to start talking about Black people and he wants to start educating Black people like, hey, you guys got to be like us. You guys need to start working like us. And this is what I happen to say about a lot of Spanish speaking individuals out here, where y'all don't do enough of history on Black Americans before you open your mouths and decide to speak, because we've had hundreds of cities across the United States, but a lot of those cities, a lot of those towns, a lot of those blocks have been burnt up. A lot of the times we've actually had villages that got turned into parks, aka Seneca Village, that's out there, known right now, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, as Central Park. Blacks were there. We had a village, but guess what? People were like, nah, y'all can't have this land no more. So we're going to take this away and we're going to turn it into a park so everybody can be here. Wow, look at that displacement. Look at how that transpired. Look at how that took place. I wonder how that part or those parts of New York would actually look if that Black community there was allowed to flourish in New York, in Central Park. I wonder how a lot of things would be looking. I wonder how a lot of things would have turned out. I guess we'll never know. Because again, just like as history has shown, whenever it is that Black people happen to build something, they want to uplift. They want to, show off their brilliance and their greatness. Somehow, some way, peoples or the government or both at the same time will come through and find a way to dismantle, destroy, burn down, flash flood, pave directly over, turn it into a forest or whatever it is that they want to sit up there and do. But every single time people want to get mad at Black people, they forget and tend to forget the history of what it is that we've gone through and suffer with and still go through to this day, and how it is that we've received no type of payments, no types of reparations for any of these things. But yet people can go and research and look these things up. But the moment in time that you tell people to do that, they want to turn around like this guy here and say that, oh, Black people are trying to act as victims, this, that, and the third, and yada, yada, yada. Be like everybody else. Be like the immigrants coming directly over. Don't ask for anything. Get everything from the mud. When statistically speaking, that is a lie. You're not getting anything from the mud. You're getting it from the government, like every other immigrant. And then the funny part is the same exact people who are getting deported back to where it is that they came from, such as Mexico, the Mexican government is like, oh, you guys ran away from us. You want us to go live a better life in America? Fine, no problem. We'll see you when you come back here. And now when Trump is in office, that see you when you get back here is a now. And now these people are going to get monies. They're going to get help from the government. And you know who has a problem with that? The native Mexicans who stayed in Mexico. They're like, hey, we fought here, we stayed here, everything is a lot better since you guys left. Why are you guys coming back? And why is it that our government is helping you guys who ran away to go live somewhere else? That is unfair. Yada, yada, yada. Go back. Sounds very familiar. Sounds like some of the things that America has been saying for the longest time possible, but people tend to not want to pay attention. But let's continue.
So we have a discourse going on between, I think, majority like Mexicans and the Black community. And I just have to say to my Mexican people who are asking why the Black people are not like protesting with us or whatever, why? Why would they? 92% of their women voted for Kamala. 80% of their community of men voted for Kamala. 60% of Latinos voted for Kamala. And I believe the majority were women and the majority were Mexican. But that number is crazy, considering that Hispanics and Latinos are becoming the fastest growing minority. Like, we are going to be the majority soon. And it's crazy for me to think that number was so fucking low. And now you're asking where the Black community is when they're the ones who tried to avoid this. Hello? They tried to avoid this. We all tried to tell you guys, even within my own community. I'm talking to you guys because I did the work. And I know other Latinas who did the work. We were on calls every fucking week. We were writing postcards. We were making phone calls. And you guys were probably nowhere in sight, my Latino community. And now you're begging the Black community to come help us, to come save us. No! I think it's time we learn to save ourselves and let the Black community rest. Because my God, have they not done enough fucking work. So, yeah. Where were we during the George Floyd protests? Or the Breonna Taylor, Sandra Bland? When their community was getting killed, where the fuck were we? Because I do not remember seeing any Latin people out there. Now, maybe there was one or two of y'all. I don't remember seeing any Mexicans out there. So why should they put their time, their energy, all of this into helping a group of people who didn't give a shit about them when they needed our help? Think about that. Also, where the hell are all you Latinos for Trump at? Because I see a lot of you guys crying on here that you regret your decision. He lied to us. He used us. Where the fuck are you? Are you out there protesting? Because you motherfuckers are really the ones who need to be out there. You guys. And all your fucking regrets for voting for him with your dumbasses. So before you guys start wondering where the Black people are, wonder where the fucking Latinos for Trump are. Where the fuck are they? That should be the question we're asking.
All right, so Andrew said there's no Black community. Humanity is one race. All right, that's great. That's cool. In whatever reality that you live in, but that is not the actual reality, because the reality is, if humanity was all one, then a lot of these wars, a lot of these battles over land and religion, guess what? They wouldn't exist. And the betterment of humanity, we would be interstellar. We will be going through galaxies at this moment in time. We will be creating a Dyson sphere to siphon energy from the star of our system, right? That's something that a civilization would actually do, that's not focused on religion, that's not focused on greed, that's not focused on lust, that's not focused on, all of this evil and good or not. We would be just focused on one thing. But guess what? We're not. So you can have a great theory that humanity is one, but that is not the reality. And we know that to be a fact, because again, the betterment of humanity will be, hey, let's cure the common cold. That hasn't happened. Let's cure cancer. That hasn't happened. Let's cure famine. That hasn't happened. Let's give everybody free energy and clean water. That hasn't happened. Let's get rid of the money system and let's just do. That hasn't happened, and it won't. So again, it's a great theory that you have, but that is not the reality. Hazel said, oh, no, it wasn't you. Sorry, my bad. It was another individual that I saw here that wanted to state that the division that we have at this moment in time is quite childish. I'm trying to actually find your comment at this moment in time, but I can't seem to find it. But to that person that wanted to say that it was, childish and we need to stop a lot of the division, it is what it is. You have put it to a better extent. You got division directly in your family. Everybody does. Right. So it's a little bit difficult to try to tell the general populace that, hey, this type of division and everything needs to stop, needs not to happen. But yet you can't even stop that within your own family. You can't even stop that within your own friend group. You can't even stop that with your neighbors or your coworkers. But you want to say that it's a childish type of thing. Then I guess as a grouping that lives on this earth, everybody is children. So good luck at trying to educate children on how to quote unquote properly move and behave. It's just not going to work. If you've ever been a parent, ever had to raise a child, ever had to try to teach a child the correct things, you know how almost nigh impossible it is. You have to start to allow them to grow and to develop and to drip feed a lot of this information. You can't force feed it because it's not going to work. Because the moment of time that you force feed, they're going to be the utmost resistant. They're not going to listen. They're not going to do it. They're going to do the complete opposite. So again, just wanted to put that directly out there. And the woman in this video has a very good point, right? You have a lot of these people out here talking about, Black Americans, why are you guys stepping back? We were there during all of these protests, yada, yada, yada. We always supported you guys back during slavery when you guys ran from the United States and y'all ran to Mexico, da, da, da. We was there for you, all this other type of stuff. She is the only one that brought up a very good point that I've seen so far online. Where are the rest of the Latins that specifically voted for Trump? Why are they not out there protesting? Why are they not out there with their people? Why are they not supporting? Why are they not helping? Because it's a little bit funny how the responsibility falls on Black Americans when, again, it was not our fault. We didn't have anything to do with this. She is of her people, and she specifically stated that overwhelmingly her own people voted for this to happen. But yet it falls on Black people from all the rest of these communities for us to basically fix something that we told everybody else not to do. How does that work? That's like your parent telling you, hey, don't go over there and play with that fire or you're going to get burned. And then you go over there as a child and you play with that fire, and then you turn around and go to the parent like, yo, you obviously, didn't inform me properly. Why did you allow me to do this? I got hurt because this is your fault. No, it's not. As Black Americans we are the parents. We specifically told you, hey, don't go out there and do this. You didn't believe that fire is hot. So you wanted to go out there and tempt fate. And now you did. And now you found out what is going to happen. And now you got a nice 3rd-degree burn at this moment in time. There is no cream. There is no ointment. There is no medical personnel. There is no aloe in order to help you deal with that burn. You're going to have to just sit there and let that heal nice and slow over time. But somehow, some way, Black Americans are the ones that have to take responsibility for what it is or how it is that other people decided to vote, how it is that other people decided to move. It makes no sense. But yet everybody wants to state that, oh, Black Americans, you guys always paint yourselves to be the victims. I'm seeing a lot of victims right now. I'm seeing a lot of victims right now when it deals with this voting and how it is that they can't take, this quote unquote win/loss and the effects of it. And they want to find somebody and point the finger on who to blame it to. They want to pin this to a whole nother grouping, a whole nother individual that had nothing to do with nothing. But let's continue.
I see so many African Americans saying they are not Africans on the internet. My brothers and sisters, you are West Africans. I see most of you claiming that before the first ship of slaves came in, you had already existed in America. That is not true. Do not be lied to. Africa is the beginning of everything. The first creation of human being was done in Africa. The reason why Africa is so blessed is because the Creator provided for the human beings in Africa. Before the continental drift, Africa is the mother. African brothers and sisters, we do understand that you do not want to be associated with slave trade, but it's your history. You cannot undo what happened in the past. What matters is where we are going to forward.
Oh, we got some other people in the comment section. Somebody seems to be mad. Sorry, not sorry. I don't know what to tell you because you are sorry. If that's the only comment that you actually have to make, I don't specifically know what it is to tell you. Again, whenever it is that people want to roll up here and they want to just so happen to name call me, obviously too many facts, too much information is getting stated. So in order to combat that, you have to devolve and go to a second, third, fourth, fifth grade type of mentality, and you got to start name calling. When the only thing that I've done is specifically point out information. I'm using the videos that people are actually posting, and yeah, like I said, a lot of people tend not to want to pay attention. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Let me see what else we got. Okay, so again with the African woman here, I find it very interesting, right? The moment I'm going to put it like this: the moment in time that Black Americans were stating that, hey, we are African, we are of the motherland, we love this, we love that, we appreciate you guys, we respect you guys are the first of the first, right? We were given all of that value, we were given all of that love, right? In some instances, we were holding group meetings and talking about plans for Africa, what it is that we could do, how it is that we could help, and yada yada yada, right? We were showing support all the way through. And then in return, a lot of those Africans, a lot of those areas, a lot of those peoples did not want to support us. They didn't want to claim us. They didn't want to call us their own. It's only been up until recent times that they like, hey, you Black Americans, you guys are actually African. Come back home. Come get your citizenship. Come do this. Come do that. In rarer extents, some of those areas have apologized for the slave trade. And I respect that. People who understand that they did wrong are coming through and like, you know what? We realize that we did wrong. We want to give a formal apology, and not just a formal apology. For those who are of our lineage with DNA tests or whatnot, whatever, you can come here and get free citizenship on us because we owe you that and more. Again, we apologize for what it is and how it is that we took part in this ignorance and how it is that we gave you away, right? For those directly out there that do that, I respect that. I have no problems with you. But to all of those out there that want to continuously try to tell Black Americans, hey, you're this, you're that, I'm like, why? Why are you doing this now? You can't sit there and you specifically tell us like, oh, you're saying that we're West African. Specifically tell me as a Black American here, tell me where at this moment in time without a DNA test, tell me where I'm from. Tell me why it is that my own people, quote unquote, because I'm African, right? Tell me why it is that my own people would decide to sell me away to a whole nother group. Give me away. Why is it that you didn't want to raise me? You wanted to have me, right? But you didn't want to take care of me. You didn't want to clothe me. You didn't want to shelter me. You didn't want to raise me. You didn't want me to be a part of this tribe. You didn't want me to be part of this ecosystem, right? This great country, this great nation. You didn't want me to be a part of any of that. You just gave me away as if I was some type of throwaway, if I was worth nothing. But now y'all want to roll up here and make videos talking about, oh, you guys are African. No, 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 no. If we tell you that we are Black American, that is the end all to be all. You yourself are African because you know this. You know the language, you know the culture, you know the tribe, you know the sub-tribes, you know the sub-dialect, you know all of that. So you yourself are African. We all know this. You're not going to sit up here and come online and try to tell me as a Black American, oh yeah, you're African. No, 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 we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not. Black Americans in the United States have been reclassified more than probably any other group out here in existence at this moment in time. And we're still getting reclassified at this moment in time. And then amongst that reclassification and that confusion, you have other people that are able to come through and try to claim certain things. So this is why Black Americans now are trying to get things straight so that we can be straight. Because everybody else that been coming here has been straight for the longest time possible and ain't been worried about us. Everybody will come through and try to masquerade and try to idly sit by and fit in with Black Americans. But the moment in time that y'all make it, guess what? You want to start waving those flags. You want to start speaking your language. You want to start talking about the culture and your food and your people and how proud you are, yada, yada, yada. But you weren't talking that same pride before you got on that boat or that plane and came directly over here. Funny, ain't it? Very interesting, ain't it? But like I said, it is what it is. And again, I want to say to a lot of people out there who may just be turning in and watching and seeing me for the first time, at no way point in time is Seji speaking in third person, talking any type of hate. I'm just pointing out the facts and I'm speaking as a Black American on how it is that a lot of other Black Americans just so happen to feel about the words that other people want to spit directly online when it deals with Black Americans, and how negatively a lot of people want to come directly at us because they feel that we should be supportive. We should be there for them. We should be doing this. We should be doing that. But yet you never heard Black Americans going online and telling everybody else, you guys better support us. We need you guys. We just did it on our own. If it didn't happen, it didn't happen. If it did happen, it did happen. If it went halfway, it just went halfway. Either which way it went, it was all on us. It was either all or nothing. That was it. Black Panther Party. We didn't depend on the Latins and the Mexicans or the white folks or the Jewish folks or anybody else directly out there to support us. We did that ourselves. When we needed any type of stability, when we needed any type of community within the Black community, we depended on ourselves the same way that we've always done it. So like I said, it's a clear-cut difference in between Black Americans and how it is that everybody else is acting and moving. We can take responsibility for our own decisions. We can do that. No matter if it's wrong or right or somewhere in the middle, we're going to be to blame for that. And we're going to have to be the ones and pick up and fix it. But magically, everybody else, they can't do the same thing. Why is that? That's a little bit strange to me. But let's keep going.
When Latinos come together, they only help each other. But when Black people come together and create programs, it's always for Black and Latinos. This comment here was left underneath that video. I had actually addressed Afro-Latinos in my video, but a friend of mine called me and it muted the video, which I didn't realize. So I had to cut it out later. Anyways, as someone who works with a lot of Afro-Latinos, let me tell you that whenever I ask them about all of these kind of programs, the majority of them have told me that as Afro-Latinos, they feel safer and more welcome and more included when it comes to Black programs that are, again, designed for Black and Brown or Black and Latinos or whatever they're called, than they feel when they go to Latino founder communities. Which totally makes sense considering how colorist our community is. And that's exactly a reason why it's important to build intersectionally safe spaces and not safe spaces or support groups or whatever they call themselves that are by design othering the very group that they're saying they're supporting.
So let me just replay that one again.
So why when Latinos come together, they only help each other, but when Black people come together and create programs, it's always for Black and Latinos. This comment here was left underneath that video. I had actually addressed Afro-Latinos in my video, but a friend of mine called me and it muted the video, which I didn't realize. So I had to cut it out later. Anyways, as someone who works with a lot of Afro-Latinos, let me tell you that whenever I ask them about all of these kind of programs, the majority of them have told me that as Afro-Latinos, they feel safer and more welcome and more included when it comes to Black programs that are, again, designed for Black and Brown or Black and Latinos or whatever they're called, than they feel when they go to Latino founder communities. Which totally makes sense considering how colorist our community is. And that's exactly a reason why it's important to build intersectionally safe spaces and not safe spaces or support groups or whatever they call themselves that are by design othering the very group that they're saying they're supporting.
So you have a lot of people who are, from her own words, again, she's of her people. She's specifically stating that her people feel safer in the Black areas. That's a little bit weird. Because again, like I stated before, in general, and I'm going to generalize this, no matter if people like it or not, you can look it up if you want to. I've talked about this enough times. Anybody who's able to speak Spanish, your forefathers fought in order to be considered white, Caucasian. Your forefathers specifically stated that you are belonging to the Caucasian race. So I'm a little bit confused on how it is that you would feel safer in a non-Caucasian area, right? You're in a Black area, you magically feel safer versus being around your own area and other people. That's a little bit weird to me. That doesn't make any sense because, again, this is something for generations that you guys have fought so hard for. But yet you fought so hard for something that you knew within yourselves you're not going to 100% directly benefit from. And those people are not going to 100% value or respect you. So you're like, we did fight for this, but it is what it is. I'll just, hang this directly in the closet. I'm going to be over here with the Blacks. Word. Word, but mind you, a lot of y'all again are still racist and colorist towards your own people. So I'm a little bit confused on how you have like safety and you got a certain type of mentality of which you are raised in on when it deals with the complexion of another person, and then you say that you want to feel safer around us. And then mind you, going back to quote unquote, let's say like the George Floyd or some of these protests, you had a lot of these Spanish speaking individuals that are very light to white complected who are using bikes and other types of items against the black protesters because they were helping the police. And I'm like, and y'all say that y'all were really for us and y'all were banding with us and y'all were walking with us and yada yada yada. It was just some big powwow. Word. That's people really think that the internet is not forever. Like people can't go back and research and look at a lot of videos and the things that were happening during that time. And people want to now come in 2025 and try to conceptualize and theorize and make their own types of stories to something that in reality actually happened. That's crazy. So we're just going to rewrite history that everybody can see in researching. Okay. Y'all got it. Y'all got it. Let's continue.
Discourse right now around Latino content creators, Latino influencers that are choosing to stay silent during this time as our community is being targeted, as our community is being attacked. And I have to be honest and say that I am not surprised. And I'm not surprised for multiple reasons, which I want to go ahead and share with you. Leading up to November and what happened, I saw a lot of Latinos pop up and support him. A lot of Latinos say things like, well, my family came here legally, so everyone else should. I saw a lot of Latinos say things like, well, they're only targeting the criminals. When now you're hearing about reports of multiple people being round up or at least questioned that are not even criminals. You can look that up for yourself. I also heard of a lot of Latinos, frankly, just outright saying things like, it doesn't matter. That it doesn't matter to them because it's not impacting them. And that, y'all, is rooted in privilege. The ability to not care, or the choice, frankly, to not care about another group, especially of a marginalized group that is hurting. The ability to not care because it doesn't impact you. The ability to not care how the results went because it doesn't impact you, or you think it doesn't impact you, because we'll get there. There's privilege there. But what I also want to go ahead and mention, why I'm also not surprised that things went in this direction and now we find ourselves here. And now Latinos are like, oh my gosh, what? I didn't think that this would happen. Girl, bye. Like we knew, and we tried to warn you, but here we are. Latinos, we have an anti-blackness issue in our community. I grew up with it. I grew up with family members who were not friendly towards black people or said things around darkness or blackness. There's machismo in our community that is still very rampant. This need to dominate over women. So machismo, racism, the disinformation and misinformation that is an issue in our community. So all of that together, I knew, and I said this months ago, that it would lead to, or it could lead to, people not voting for her. And here we freaking are, okay? So I'm not surprised. And also, internalized racism, the proximity or the need to feel like you want to be white, even though you will never be white. Never. It won't be a thing. All that comes together, and you have what we're going through now. So I'm not surprised. But if you do want to have conversations about this type of stuff, follow for more, because I'm down to talk.
So again, you have somebody of the specific community, again, speaking on the realism of the racism that runs rampant, the colorism that runs rampant, among the other things, and how it is that they specifically treat and or see black people. And I'm a little bit confused on how it is that the times that I do these live streams, I have people come through in the channel in the comment section and try to tell me that, oh no, I'm wrong. I don't know what it is that I'm talking about. Stop generalizing. It's not a generalization. Your own people are speaking on this. Your own people are talking about it. And more specifically, when I happen to even look at the music and I look at the artists that are specifically out there coming, let's say like from Latin America, I see the lightest of the lightest. I don't see support for the darkest of the darkest, the most melanated directly out there. Even when I used to sit up there and watch Telemundo and all that other type of stuff. Yeah, nah, y'all didn't have like your darkest and your brightest out there. You didn't have them out there forefront. You had the lightest, if not close to white. That's who you had out there. Even with the sports newscasters, even when it deals with your soccer players, aka your football players, when it deals with all of your media, you make sure to put the lightest of the lightest out there. The same thing that the Indians from India, the same thing that they just happen to do. But you want to try to tell me as a black American, oh, don't generalize. Indians do the same thing. Indians are just as colorist, if not in some extent worse than you. Or maybe you guys could be considered the same and just put all of you guys in a pot. But either way it goes, both of your cultures, both of your nations do not like darker complected, more melanated individuals. So you guys are going to tend to put, even though you guys are in warm areas, and in order to live in those warm areas, you need melanin in order to support that. You guys are going to put the lightest of the lightest directly up there. Anything that is close to white, that is what you're just so happen to going to do. That's it. But somehow, some way, Black Americans are the problem. Black Americans are the ones that need to, fix a lot of things. Oh, Primo, yo, what is up, man? I don't even know who you are, but you know who I am, though. And you said, I need to what? I need to shut up and stop being a wussy. Why is that? Is it because that I'm highlighting a lot of the issues in your community and the things that need to specifically be fixed? Because a lot of your people want to tell us that Black Americans are the problem when realistically it is that we're not. How about this? Instead of you coming to a Black American platform and wanting to come around and name call and you can actually have a conversation, how about you go talk to your folks in your community who voted for Trump, who voted in order to get you and your people, your family and your friends and your coworker and other individuals directly out of the United States? How about you go have that conversation instead of coming here? Because you are literally barking up the wrong tree. I've been doing this for way too long. And this is what for anybody else out there, this is what I'm talking about. Instead of people wanting to go speak to their own families or them looking in the mirror about what it is that they specifically did and how it is that they are the causation of a lot of issues, they want to point the finger at Black Americans and they want to say, hey, you guys are the problem. Hey, shut up. Stop talking about this. Da 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 da. Again, you don't want to face the true facts. And again, this is not coming from directly me. I'm speaking on the topic, but the overwhelming amount of information and words are coming directly from, let's say, Primo, Promo, whatever his name is. It's coming directly from your people. So what? You're more mad at me for showcasing the type of ignorance and racism and colorism that is within your community. You're more mad at me for showcasing it versus the people talking about it. You don't want to go have an educated conversation with any of those people that I'm talking about that are located on Twitter or I'm sorry, X or IG or TikTok or whatever. You don't want to have a conversation, an educated conversation to try to fix or resolve that within your community, but you want to come here to me. Okay. No problem. So let's continue. Let's go to one of the more darker complected ones, since all we've seen here is light.
Where to begin? So I am Indigenous Mexican and African American, and I made a previous video, and I just wanted to add context to it because I am no Sabo. I don't speak Spanish, and I was raised by my African American mother, and in my video, I said that I am grateful that I did not learn how to speak Spanish, and it's very true, right? Had I learned how to speak Spanish, had I grown up with more Mexican influence in my life, and it's not to say that Mexicans were completely absent from my childhood or development, had I grown up with more of a Mexican influence as a Mexican and African American woman, I would hate myself, okay? I would absolutely hate who I am internally. And it's heartbreaking to admit, but it's the truth. And it just comes from a realization that, Mexicans do not like Black people, okay? They don't like African Americans, frankly, and they don't like mixed children with African Americans, and they don't like indigenous Mexicans. So all of that combined just creates like a whoa realization for me. And really, a lot of that came from being confronted with so much racism this year. And I can go into more context in a different video, but that's what I basically meant in my video. Had I grown up around more Mexicans, understanding Spanish, regardless of whether or not they're family, just more with a Mexican influence in my life, I would hate myself. And I would really, really struggle, and I would have, and I don't want to say this to make light of any of it, because a lot of indigenous Mexican girls hate themselves. A lot of indigenous Mexican women have grown up with this disgust for their own self, because it's taught, it's conditioned in Mexican culture to worship the white woman, the güerita, the foreign white women. This is all, I'm learning all of this year. But I never knew any of that. I was completely, and this is why sometimes ignorance is bliss. I was completely ignorant to all of that my entire childhood. I'm 28 now, into my adulthood. And I just wanted to add that with this knowledge, this newfound knowledge, I feel compelled to do something and help brown girls. Because it's like, what do you mean we're ugly? Honest to God, my entire life, I've always known Mexican people to come in all shades, but I've just always viewed, there's some Mexicans who are more brown, me. There's some Mexicans that are white. I've never really interacted too heavily in friendships with white Mexicans personally, because I've always viewed them more as, and this is not to be discriminatory towards you guys, but I've always viewed you guys more as like whitewashed or like you want to be white. I've always had a full understanding that I'm a woman of color, and I've always been very proud of that. So I can go into context in another video, but it's like I'm like, I don't know, I feel like I'm being born again. This entire year I'm being born again, and like this is like just like a huge part of it.
So it's funny to look at the comment section and to see some of the comments while the video is going. We got somebody that said that this is race baiting garbage. Either you're honorary white, you fought to be considered white, or you are actually European. Either which one, I'm still right, no matter where it goes. So to that individual, how is it race baiting garbage when I've shown the lightest of the lightest of this nation, of this area, of these people, and they've spoke on the exact same things, right? They spoke on how it is that their own people have an internalized type of racism, that they have because of that internalized racism, that when it deals with the more melanated of their population, they then pass that on the Black Americans as well, because they're like, well, we don't like the darker complected individuals of our own nation. We're not going to sit up there and like the Black Americans as well too, because it reminds us too much of home. It reminds us of what it is that we originally are, that we so much fight against internally, right? And then I go to somebody who is more melanated, and she looks beautiful. Skin is flawless, nothing wrong with her skin, but she said herself as a Mexican/Black woman that, hey, if I was more partly raised by my Mexican side, I would actually hate myself because of how it is that I look, because that is something that is well within the DNA of her culture. And then I have people like this one to tell me that this is race baiting garbage. Again, this is what happens when people don't want to pay attention. They don't want to do any type of research. And again, if you look at a lot of people that are either Mexican, South American, whatnot, what have you, a lot of them will honestly speak on the racism, the outward or internal racism. They'll speak on the colorism, right? They'll speak on the texturism. But again, like I said before, a lot of people would rather stay ignorant and not know any of this information so that they could just speak from this type of void. because they feel like, I'm going to forego any of this information. I don't care about any of these books. I don't care about what any of the people from the actual nation or this group they're talking about. I'm just going to give you my opinion, and that's it. No backup, no nothing. And I'm like, that's crazy to me. That's 100% crazy. And it's like, hold on, what else we got? Radio said it's only race baiting when it's the truth. Yeah, that's the craziest part. That's the craziest part. Every single time you happen to speak on these facts and you're bringing up receipts, magically up, you're racist, you're race baiting. That's some diabolical work. But when you ask these people about, this quote unquote, how is this race baiting, if it's coming from the actual source, the actual people who lived it, who were taught this, who are around it, if you ask them about that, they can't actually give you a response. They can't actually give you an answer. It's crazy work. Vic said, what's your point? Well, look at the title and happen to rewind the live stream to the front, and you'll actually start to understand what the point is. Johnny come lately. So if I got this correct, my apologies if I butcher this. Edgar Jimenez said, I believe we hear race baiting because your point of view is one of conflict instead of one of solidarity. Good sir. Let me just, as the type of host that I am, right? You're in my home. Let me just welcome you directly to this platform. Hi, how are you doing? Have a seat. Now, it's funny that people want to tell me about trying to come up with a solution or to work on solidarity, right? Cool, no problem. It wouldn't be an issue to work on solidarity or a point to fix a problem if the people that I'm referring to or talking to actually wanted to work in solidarity amongst their own people first and wanting to fix the problems or the point of origins of those problems within their grouping, their nation, their people, their ecosystem, and what have you. So how am I supposed to fix an internal problem with the Latin people if they're not willing to fix it amongst themselves, their family, or their friends? I can't sit up there and tell you how to fix yourself. I can tell Black people how to love themselves. I can tell them how to, respect and value. I can tell them a lot of those things because I am of that. Right? Now, if I wanted to go on the bound of, okay, we're both melanated, right? Well, at least speaking for the woman that you see smiling on the screen, right? We're both melanated, right? So within that, I can basically give you a little bit of something. I can't give you everything, but I can give you a little bit of something. Again, my little bit of something is a band-aid to a Grand Canyon of a gash of a problem. You need surgery. So again, how is it, as I've stated before, how is it that a lot of these internal issues and problems that a lot of y'all have, how is it on me, because we're just talking about me right now, how is it specifically on me as a Black American to try to fix those problems, to try to figure out those situations and those conflicts? And this is something that is not even my problem. This is something that's not even my fault. That's like me going to your people and telling y'all, like, yo, y'all need to sit up there and formulate some solidarity and teach us and help us fix some internal issues and some problems. You can't do that. It's impossible for you to do. Your people cannot help Black people fix anything that is going on internally, that is going on with their community, their family, their friends, their people, their ecosystem, their biome, whatever you want to sit up there and consider as. You can't do that, just like I can't do that in reverse. So because I'm giving out this information, you're taking it as, in a sense, conflict, and it's not. My point of view is that I'm speaking on the topic. I'm also broadening what it is that I'm specifically speaking on because I've done this for about a week or so straight, on top of giving more context and information as what I've done in previous live streams by way of the elders. Somebody who was older than the woman that you see here and the rest of the folks that you saw in the previous videos that I have up for you at this moment in time. So again, it's to point out that there is a huge problem amongst your people. And that is a problem that needs to be fixed. The reason that this problem is being overarching and highlighted as it is, at least from my point of view, at least from my platform, is by way of what's happening with Trump, what's happening with this administration. Because again, somebody wanted to list what's the whole point. The main point is a lot of people messed around and a lot of people are finding out. A lot of people who don't look like me, a lot of people who know their culture, know their language, they're proud of where it is that they came from. They decided to vote against their own people, vote against their own best interest. They felt that they were at a certain hierarchy versus their other groupings of people that are here. And they were like, hey, we're already up here. We don't need the rest of you guys here. So we're going to vote for a candidate that's going to get y'all up out of here so that we are the only ones. And that's what happened. But a lot of those people that voted for Trump are also getting deported as well, too. I showcased the video where a Latin man that runs a restaurant, his wife is getting deported. Color me surprised. I've highlighted issues such as Walmart, where you had Latin individuals going through Walmart and it was awfully calm and quiet. Products were not moving off the shelves the way that they would normally sit up there and move. I highlighted videos to showcase a lot of areas that have huge Latin populations are almost ghost towns at this moment in time because a lot of people are afraid to leave their homes. A lot of people are afraid to go specifically to work because they're like, hey, ICE is on the move. ICE is, potentially specifically looking for us at this moment in time. We got to sit up there and just lay low. We got to wait until the ghost is clear. And again, this is not because of the Black community, because we didn't want to formulate some type of solidarity. We tried for years. We tried for years. We tried for years. We tried for years. Even I myself at one moment in time tried for a little bit of time, but then I started seeing videos from Spanish speaking individuals where they wanted to badmouth and they wanted to down talk and they wanted to say this about the Black community and us being victims and to get over slavery, get over that history and yada, 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 sounding just like the white folks. And then I was like, you know what? Y'all got it. Whatever happens in the future is whatever happens in the future. I know I tried. I know other Black Americans tried. It is what it is. Wipe my hands of it. And here we are in 2025. Here we are in 2025. And I got people rolling up here trying to tell me to, try to fix a problem and work on solidarity and da and yada, yada, yada. And people wanting to be victims and rah, 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 ha, ha, ha. It's crazy. Well, Edgar Jimenez, I guess you're going to be rolling your eyes for quite a bit of time because I don't know what else to sit up there and tell you. Because again, coming from somebody who has literally tried to do this, and I'm going to be honest here too. Well, we got 419 people here. For a lot of some of the content that you can't see because people wanted to, report my channel because I specifically was trying to give out information when it was dealing with parents and guardians and how it is that they need to look out for certain individuals that are attacking and going after their families. YouTube found that as problematic. They told me specifically that, hey, you are speaking on a protected group and we can't allow you to do that. Even if they are doing something that they're not supposed to be doing, but you're attacking a specific and a protected group, we're going to have to, get rid of the videos on your channel because it's problematic. When realistically, I thought that I was trying to benefit and help everybody here, everybody, all 400 and something of y'all that's here. This is what YouTube decided to do to me. So when y'all want to come up here and try to tell me that I need to talk about solidarity and try to get all of this togetherness, I've been doing that for the longest time possible. And y'all still sat up there and fought me. Y'all still suck. I'm saying this in general. I don't care if you're like white. I don't care if you're Black. I don't care if you're Asian. I don't care if you're Jewish. I don't care if you're African, Jamaican, whatever you want to consider yourself as. All of y'all sat up there and fought me. Y'all made sure to sit up there and get certain videos that y'all didn't like, that y'all felt specifically pertain to you. Y'all wanted those off the platform. Y'all wanted me to only talk about specific issues. So then when I generalized and started trying to encompass everybody, guess what? It wasn't just y'all that attacked me. I got attacked by YouTube. So like I said before, a lot of sacrifices have been made, and I've done the work that I felt that I should have done in order to benefit everybody as a human nation. What was the one person that sat up there and told me something in the comment section that we're all one in humanity? Yeah, you know what? I used to sit up there and think like that, and then everybody showed me exactly what it really is. Because I tried to look out for the best interest of your children, to make sure that they would be okay, to make sure that they would be fine, to make sure that a lot of these adult individuals don't do this, that, and the third. Guess what? I had to pay the cost on that. Do you think that any of you guys that are coming through in the comment section telling me what it is that I should be talking about, what it is that I should be doing, how it is that I should be speaking solid, do you think that any of you guys actually care about that? Nah, you didn't. You wasn't there. You laid low. You didn't pay attention. You only like to come around when you see specific videos pertaining to a specific topic that you feel that you can grandstand or soapbox on. But when it's on some real topics that encompasses everybody, like everybody says, like, oh, we're all God's children, we're all one, we all believe the same, yada yada yada. Y'all ain't nowhere to be found because y'all don't actually care. I have literally done as much work as I can, stretching all across damn near every single continent to inform y'all of all of these individuals out here. And I got silence, shadow banned, blocked, videos deleted, videos blocked and deleted, videos removed. Crazy work out here. It's crazy sitting up here looking at people try to tell me what it is that I need to do, and y'all ain't never met any type of sacrifices ever in your life to try to get out information to anybody out here and knowing what it is that it will cost. White boy Vincent said, do you talk a lot? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Unseen Video said, you're also a liar. I guess so, man. I guess so. It's some crazy work directly out here. Like I said, just looking through the comments, it further proves my point. Lance said, race baiting trash, do less. You know what the funny part is, Lance? Again, going back to my reference point, I did a lot of videos trying to protect kids. Do you know what videos that you weren't talking about, Lance? Do you know what videos that you're not going to have anything to say about, Lance? Those videos. You're not going to pipe up the same way that you and the rest of your friends are in this comment section piping up right now. You're not going to showcase to those videos and pipe up on those. Matter of fact, there was a man who was white who, because of something that took place to him during his childhood, he decided to be a vigilante. And he decided that he wanted to go out and he wanted to, in a sense, get vengeance for the others directly out there that he knows are being affected. And he went out there and went after those who specifically go after your families, your kids. And do you know what the system set up there and did to him, Lance? They set up there and put him in prison. It wasn't up until recently that man actually got released. You know what else happened, Lance? His sister came through at one point in time and thanked me for doing that video and broadcasting that video. Because in my eyes, I felt that her brother was innocent of what it is that he did. Because again, a lot of people like you, Lance, would never sacrifice that much in order to protect the children directly out here. So again, y'all can happen to try to grandstand and try to tell me all of this and that directly on these videos when it's dealing with color, when it's dealing with religion, on all of this stuff. But I'm going to guarantee you, if I ever did a live stream and it was talking about protecting the kids, a lot of y'all wouldn't even show up. I wouldn't have anywhere close to 400 people watching. I wouldn't have anywhere close to any of you quote unquote adults coming through here and wanting to tell me what it is that I should be do. Oh, you're a baiter. You're this, you're that. You don't really care. None of y'all care as adults. None of y'all care. And I'm talking about this so passionately because this is something that I've literally worked on trying to convey to a lot of quote unquote American people, all races. But you guys are so stupid and incompetent that you can't even realize that. You guys are so sensitive that you don't even want to go back and look at any of that type of content, nor even wanted to acknowledge it, because all you guys do want to argue. That's it. Y'all just want to argue. Y'all just want to grandstand. Y'all just want to prove that y'all have some type of point and that you're right about something. But when it comes to real problems and real issues for those out there that can't protect themselves, you guys are nowhere to be found. It's crazy work. It's diabolical work. It is 100% diabolical work. Crazy. Like I said before, it's like y'all don't actually really care about nothing. Don't actually care about nothing. Said man is not gender specific. I don't even know what you're talking about. Still saying that I'm a race hustler? I guess so. I put it to you like this, Lance. If I am a race hustler, then just leave. Just leave. Everybody else that feels that I'm a race hustler, all this other, like I said, y'all are uneducated. Y'all don't do any type of research. Y'all will literally go off of one live stream, one video, and that's it. Because you feel that you know everything that needs to be known. Yo, it's crazy work. And y'all call yourselves adults? That's some crazy work. That's some crazy work out here. Like I said, I love the hate though. I love it. Before you leave, make sure to hit that thumbs down button. It is some crazy work. Jimenez, you said that we're attacking you, but we're the victims, question mark. What? Are you who specifically are you even talking to at that one? Because I'm looking at a lot of comments and I'm seeing people going back and forth, and it seems like a lot of y'all are talking to each other, or some people might be just generalizing. But it's crazy. Uh-oh. Here we go with the other one. Yo, Seiji, you sound gay. I guess so. I guess, when you just so happen to, speak about information and you want to protect the children directly out here. I guess so. I guess so. I guess when you're bringing up topics talking about other cultures directly out here and how it is that they, are battling with internalized colorism, racism, texturism, I guess it sounds gay. I guess so. I'll be that then. Whatever demon that you need to sleep at night, I'll be that. So if you envision me as being gay, so be it. To each is their own. It is what it is. Like I said, I ain't gonna fight you. I'm not even gonna sit up there and debate you. Because at the end of the day, I don't even know you in real life. Just like you don't even know me. I've never even run into you. But it is what it is. Like I said, I ain't about to fight you on nothing. So keep talking that talk. Keep talking that talk. Eugenia Moore said, you need to approach the issue differently from a different view. Huh? So what are you talking about? I'm a little bit confused at this moment in time. It is crazy work. I don't even know what that person even wrote. I can't even properly read that one. Let me see what else we got in here. It's because this is going back and forth. So again, shout out again to even those who hate me directly on this platform. Much love, respect, and appreciation. The help, the hate is welcome. It is what it is. Yeah. Radio said, Hito, you got a lot of haters in the chat. Yeah, it'd be like that. It'd be like that. 100%. But like I said before, when I happen to put this on different topics, a lot of these people who want to hate me are nowhere to be seen. Crazy work. It is 100% crazy work. New Era said that's messed up what they did to you. Yeah, and that's why the original channel looks the way that it looks at this moment in time, where all of those videos are pretty much gone, because YouTube is like, hey, we got a problem with this video, but we're not going to tell you specifically what video it is, but we're going to let you know that we got a problem with this video. So you pretty much got to dismantle the whole channel. You got to take everything down. So that's everything that I've pretty much been doing since about around like 2018/2019. Crazy work. But like I said before, a lot of these quote unquote trolls, bots, whatever in the comment section, they don't care nothing about that. And I'm going to just remind people, a lot of people that's trying to clown or whatnot in the comment section, a lot of videos that I covered were more than likely in areas across the United States of which you live in. If it wasn't in the United States, I more than likely covered videos that specifically detailed where your place of origin is. So it doesn't matter if it's Latin America, it doesn't matter if it's Mexico, it doesn't matter if it's from the Caribbean, Canada, India, the UK, across Europe, Australia, China, Japan. It doesn't matter where it is that you live. I have specifically covered videos in those areas. It doesn't matter if it dealt with money laundering. Doesn't matter if it dealt with thievery. It doesn't matter if the government was doing wrong. Yada yada yada. All that type of good stuff. Like I said before, none of y'all would never pull up to the scene when it deals with those videos, and I know y'all wouldn't, because I can go back and look at some of those videos, and I don't see the same energy that I see here in this comment section. But you're acting like you care and that you're above everything. Oh, I'm above this whole race thing. I'm above all of this and da 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 da. You're a race baiter and not. If you're above all of this, then you should simply be focused on protecting and caring about the kids. But you're not. So yeah, it'd be like that. 100%. Trying to catch up on some of these comments here. Vic said, "You've been arguing with yourself for 20 minutes, my guy." Actually not. I'm not sure if you realize it or not. Let me just pull this up for Vic here. So, to Vic, we have two channels that we are literally live streaming directly to for the uneducated, right? And for the uninitiated. We got the original channel, which obviously has 10 people watching, and we have the SEIJIHITO the Second Coming channel, which has 296 people, right? And my grand total that I see directly at front is about 325 people that we have at this moment in time. So yeah, just putting that, directly out there for those who don't actually understand. So I'm not actually arguing with myself. I am, responding to comments. I'm pretty sure that you guys are not too used to that, because a lot of times in live streams, people are not going to give you this much time and talk to you for this long when it deals with comments. It's crazy. Let me see. What else do we have here? Don't listen to them. Keep working. Don't play. Again, shout out to anybody that's leaving a comment at this moment in time. Much love, respect, and appreciation. Think I'm making it to the last part of the comments. Shout out to Gail putting up the Cashapp directly up there. Much love, respect, and appreciation. Also, much love, respect, and appreciation to all of my moderators who are currently here at this moment in time. Y'all could be anywhere else on any other channel, but you guys decide to stay here and be with the guy. Much love, respect, and appreciation. Love you guys a lot and appreciate you guys. Let me see. It's funny to see. Yo, lovely Lisa, what is up? What is up? She said he isn't a race hater. Stop the trolling. Hey, it is what it is. A lot of people don't want to, focus in on a lot of things directly out here. They just want to be fixated on certain things. He said no free speech on private platforms. Look up case law. If there was free speech on private platforms, you wouldn't get banned when going against terms and conditions. Now, unseen video, minus all the other comments that you've just so happened to make, this is the one problem when you're talking about the terms and conditions. When you're specifically, let me just, I'm trying to put this in a certain type of way that you'll understand. When I'm specifically speaking on those who are going after families, right, going after those who cannot protect themselves, explain to me how that would be a protected group. I want you in your grand wisdom, out of everything that you've stated in this comment section, explain to me how, in reality, that would be considered a protected group. Explain that to me. Explain that to me. And and let me also add in the craziest part about that video being so problematic. Both of the videos that I even spliced together in order to give people a full view of what it is that I'm talking about and to showcase how problematic it is, both of those videos were located on YouTube. That's where I got those from. So YouTube didn't care that I got the videos off of YouTube and I repurposed those in order to, make or prove a point or to try to show a point. They were like, hey, you're talking about a protected group. So again, in your grand wisdom, out of everything that you stated, let me know and let everybody else know, how should that even be anywhere close to considered a protected group? Because then again, I covered a TED talk talking about this, and I tried to warn a lot of you guys who happen to hate the content that I do right now. I tried to warn a lot of you guys about this, and a lot of y'all didn't show up. A lot of y'all didn't care, whatnot, whatever, all this other type of great stuff. Even still to this day, I can go online and look at that video, and a lot of y'all that got all of this type of fixation and this anger and all this other type of stuff at me in the comment section, y'all never show up to those videos. Y'all never show up to those channels or those comment sections. Why is that? But you want to make it seem like you care about everybody, yada, 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 all this type of great stuff. You want to try to grandstand. Crazy work. Crazy work. Shout out. Let me see if I can. I got to try to go back and highlight. Oh, I can do it from here. Great. I'm very happy. Shout out to brother Allen for coming through with the $5 dono to the channel. Much love, respect, and appreciation. And then much love, respect, and appreciation to Shawalaya for the $10 dono to the channel. Hopefully I pronounced that right. I'm looking at it. For me, it looks like calligraphy in a sense, but much love, respect, and appreciation for the donations, to the channel. Much love, respect, and appreciation. Let me see what else we got. No free speech, right? Unseen said, now he talks about us. None of us. Again, I don't even know who you are in order to say us. Who cares if Kang did a video on my country? Yo, I love it. This is some beautiful work. What was that? Unseen said uneducated. Yes, I said that. Star Child, you said it's funny you a race baiter, but they don't like things to be called out. Hey, like I said, and the funniest thing is, even when it dealt with, because I have to do this long pause and have these conversations just because, even when I did videos and I specifically highlighted white Americans getting the worst ends, I'm talking about the middle class to the poor, white Americans getting the worst end of the stick in the United States by way of laws, by way of their own law enforcement, by way of the government, by way of their healthcare system. The exact same energy that I'm getting in this live stream, I never got that from them under those videos. And those were specifically for them, to ask them, what are you going to do? How are you going to sit up there and fight back? How are you going to correct the government on how it is that they are specifically treating you, your family, your children? How is it that you're specifically going to attack the school system on the miseducation of your kids, or how it is that they're trying to indoctrinate them into certain types of education? Do you think that any of these people that call me race baiters wanted to pull up to those videos? Nope. Do you think they cared about that? Nope. But they'll make sure to show up to videos where I, as a Black American, I'm talking about and highlighting racism, colorism, texturism, and all these other types of things. They'll make sure to pipe up. They'll make sure to roll up to the scene. But any other videos that could be about a specific group or that can encompass everybody never happen to have that same energy. It is diabolical work. It's crazy. It's crazy out here. Sean McClan said, please tell me you're not talking to humans. Hey, I don't know. I don't know who it is that I'm talking to at this moment in time. I could not even specifically tell you. Can't even tell you. Let me see what else we got. So I filed papers calling the core system systematic racism. Let me see what else we got. You said, can we get a summary of a summary cause of these rants? Well, this is me. This is normally what I just so happen to do on this platform for entertainment purposes. Give people a little bit of something to talk to get through their work day, their work period, or whatnot, or whatever. Just to do things of that nature, because a lot of the people that just so happen to watch me just so happen to be at work or getting off of work or going directly to work, or maybe they may be on their lunch break. And a lot of people have asked me before, like, hey, Seji, why don't you do, longer forms of content in order to help me get through my day today? So again, this is what I just so happen to do. This is how I can tell that you're highly uninitiated to what it is that I do, because I've done 8, 10, 15, upwards to 24-hour live streams of me talking. And if it just wasn't me talking, it was other people from the channel talking. So yeah, just got to put that up there. We got Prince directly in the building. What is up? What is up? What is up? Much love, respect, and appreciation. What is up? Let me see what else we got. Tons. I've seen Ford's videos today where they were blocking the Democrats from Congress from entering the Board of Education building in Washington, I believe. Yeah, I've seen those. The problem with that is that the Democratic Party now wants to be active when it deals with the education system, but the Black community for years have always had a problem with the education system and the miseducation of Black kids in the Black community. I being, in a sense, one of those kids. I went to Detroit public schools, and after I went to Detroit public schools and then I went to private schools, there was a vast difference in the teaching and how everything went. And then after leaving those private schools and then going directly to, again, a public school, a public high school, it's like, okay, we're going over the same stuff that I learned in the 5th, 6th, and 7th grade. Why would I start off in the 9th and 10th grade doing the exact same work that I just did in middle school? That makes no sense. We should be building upon what it is that we've already been taught, but that's not what they tend to do, right? Demonte, what is up? You said, is this live? Yes, it is. This is currently at this moment in time. I just have this as a still shot at this moment because I was talking for so long, going through the comment section, trying to catch up to comments, explaining and doing all of that stuff, right? Joe said, what you Blacks crying about now? I don't know. I guess the same thing that you whites are going to be crying about in a minute, because as a matter of fact, I actually have a few videos detailing white Americans and their plight and their problems. So don't worry, I will be getting to you guys in a minute. Got some nice videos lined up for you guys. So let's go to the next video.
Seen a lot of conversation around why Black people are not helping the Latin American community with all of the triumph that they've encountered due to this administration. And to be honest with you, Black people have an agenda this administration. We focusing on ourselves, we focusing on our families, we focusing on our community, and we focusing on our relationship with God.
So we clearly heard that from a Black woman, like, hey, we're just going to mind our business. We're going to let y'all do what y'all do. We're going to do what it is that we need to do, because as every other group and nation out here is commonly stated when it comes to the United States, hey, look at us Africans, look at us Mexicans, look at us Latins, look at us whites, look at us Asians, look at us Arabs, look at us everybody else. They're like, hey, we're working together, we're building together, we're pulling everything from the mud. Why is it that you Blacks can't sit up there and do the same thing that we're doing? You guys should take a lesson from us. So we're like, you know what? You guys got it. We're going to pull back all of our energy. We're going to reserve it. We're going to save for ourselves, and we're going to work on our communities and do the things that you guys say that we need to sit up there and do. But the funniest thing is, when Black people put out messages like this, now we're segregationists. Now we want to be divisive, right? Now we want to separate ourselves. When we want to pull back and work on ourselves like everybody else told us to do, everybody else said that, hey, you should mimic and copy what it is, the positive things that we're doing, and push that to the Black community. Like, okay, no problem. Y'all feel that y'all got everything. Y'all don't, no longer need our support or energy. Fine, we're going to reserve. We're going to pull back. We're going to build up ourselves. We're going to invest in ourselves. We're going to buy from ourselves. We're going to do all the things necessary in order to put ourselves on an equal playing field with everybody else, so we can stop calling ourselves victims, right? And somehow, some way, you guys still find a problem with that. How is that even possible? How is that even possible? That's some diabolical work. And then Vic wanted to say, what's your thesis? Hispanics are racist towards Blacks? Obviously, you must have just got here and you decided not to put, take the little dot that's on the screen and kind of try to rewind that real quick. That wasn't a thesis. Now, if you're saying that my thesis is that you guys are racist and colorist and texturist towards your own, yes. And then by way parallel, since that you guys are like that, then you're like that to the black community. Yes, but it all starts from a source, which is you. So you can take that how you want to take it and decipher it and divide it on, you know, how you want to do with that information. Gabe AI or Gabe Al said, you seen the Nazis getting a police escort off of the bridge in Cincinnati? Yeah. And you know the funniest thing is, I actually have a video for that. And I promise you, a lot of the people that want to be rah 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 in this comment section right now want to tell me that I'm racist. If I were to even showcase that video, and also I'm talking about showcase the camera angles from the guys that had those flags in Cincinnati above the Ohio. If I were to sit up there and just naturally just put that, how they were talking, it was N-word galore. It was like every 5 to 10 seconds. And the funniest thing is the Cincinnati residents where I'm talking about, like, it seemed like 50 to maybe like 100 feet away from where they were. But this is how they were recording, and they were live saying, oh, this, that, and the third, and da 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 da. Look at who's coming. Look who's coming. Look who's trying to start up. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. I'm like, so this is like your whole main focus. You don't want to walk through your own communities with these flags and with these beliefs. You want to come through to either a diverse or a multicultural area or a black area, and this is how you want to sit up there and act. Never at a point in time have I, as a black American, been like, you know what? I believe and love the Black Panther so much. I want to sit up there and spread the whole message to the white communities. So let me sit up there and get a flag, and let me start doing this and that. And let me just start rolling through all of these white communities. Let me start running through some of these sundown towns at this moment in time. Let me start doing that. Nope. Not at all. Matter of fact, you know, there was a group called the Proud Boys. You know why you don't happen to see the Proud Boys no more? That's because the Proud Boys decided that at a moment in time, they wanted to, you know, during their protest or their march, they caused destruction to a black church. When that black church was looking in order to sue and to try to get some monies back, you know, the Proud Boys wasn't trying to pay that, right? Because everybody's like, oh yeah, BLM, they're the ones that always do this, that, and the third, and yada, yada, yada. So, you know, a judge was like, we're just going to place, oh, we got a member? Hey, much love, respect, and appreciation. We got a Prince that just became a member, because I heard Zordon for a brief second that actually just like threw me off. I'm like, yo, what was that? I forgot about that notification. So shout out to Prince on becoming a member of the channel. Much love, respect, and appreciation. Let me tell you, when I had that set up, I forgot all about it, and it actually scared me out of thought for a brief second, and I had to realize it was the Power Rangers, right? But yeah, a judge ended up putting in a settlement. He was like, okay, well, since they don't want to pay up, anything that they own, any website, any monies, including their name, right? The license rights holders, whatever, everything that is Proud Boys now belongs to this black church. So the same grouping that had issues and whatnot, whatever, with black people and all this other type of stuff, they no longer exist because now a black man of a black church owns all of that. Now, as a lot of people like to say, look at how God works and moves. Look at how that happens. Because I promise you, that black church had nothing to do with the Proud Boys. So why would the Proud Boys want to come through and graffiti and do damages to that church? Why would they want to do that? Because normally churches really tend to stay out of a lot of these things. Churches are not about like, hey, we're going to go out here fighting, we're going to do this. No, they pretty much stay out of the way. They try to play both sides and try to, you know, calm everybody down. So again, why would a group like the Proud Boys want to do that to a black church? But they ended up losing. So, you know, it is what it is. Joe said, I'm not white. You lot are obsessed. Well, I know, Joe, that for a fact that if you're using the terminology lot, you are from the UK. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff within that. You said it's not your land. It's not your land. You know, I guess so. Joe said every black city is A hole in the ground. I put it to you like this, Joe, and I've said this a multitude of times. The United States of America is a third world country. How about that one? Is that a little bit better? Because a lot of you guys say that we're all one, we're all human, and all this other type of stuff. The whole United States of America is a third world country. Do you know who runs the United States of America? It's not people that looks like me. So again, because we're dealing with the segregation, we're dealing with the division, right? Because everybody wants to say that I'm a race baiter, right? But you're saying that every Joe, again, specifically stating, calling somebody out, Joe said that every black run city is a hole, right? A hole in the ground. I got to paraphrase, right? But what about the United States as a whole? You're not going to sit up there and tell me that this is just the most awesome and the greatest country directly out here. Look at how many times we've been at war that we don't need to be at war. Look at all of the trillions of dollars that we've lost and that's unaccounted for. Look at the fact that the Pentagon cannot even assess any of the monies that they've spent. At this moment in time, at least during the Trump administration, you're having audits being done on the government, and there is money. There is literal money at this moment in time that is unaccounted for. Explain that to me, Joe, because you're not going to be able to sit up there and tell me that black people are the cause for that. We're not the cause for trillions of dollars worth of debt. How about that one? How about that one? How many Caucasian presidents have we had that have continuously thrown us into debt? I'm going to bring you one right now. Let's go back to 9/11 and let's go back to the George Bush Jr. era. Let's do that. How about his father, who sat up there and stated that, you know, it's no longer the rules of the jungle, it's the rule of law, and that we need to be prepared for a new world order. How about that one? Because I promise you it wasn't a black man who stated that, Joe. But yet, whenever it is that you guys want to happen to talk about the United States and you want to talk about a specific group, you make sure to always talk about, hey, look at how these black people are running their cities. But you're missing a lot of the Appalachia, a lot of the rural areas of where poor whites are located and how it is that they're getting treated. How it is that the wealth from America is not really getting distributed to those folks directly out there. How their towns are pretty much ghost towns. How their populations are pretty much dwindling. How you guys that you care so much about, you're not reinventing or energizing your own people in a lot of those areas. You're just leaving them destitute and barren. You're leaving them lifeless. You're not even giving them life support. But you want to roll up here and try to grandstand and make it seem like you actually care about something, even your own people. It's crazy work out here. It's 100% crazy work. It's crazy. Crazy work. And like a lot of people said in the comment section, it's amazing how, people want to say that black people are the problem, yada, 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 all this other type of good stuff. But at the end of the day, black people are not the ones getting deported. But yet black people are the ones that try to tell people that, hey, if you do this, bad things are going to happen. Oh, Joe, you talking about the crime statistics? Now, class, for anybody that's well initiated, I'm pretty sure you guys remember at one point in time we went over crime statistics, correct? Luckily, I have those directly up here. Now, oddly enough, I would have to re-show those in a different type of way because, things are a little bit different. When it deals with this, I would actually have to go to sources. I think I want to say that was possibly image 10. Add an existing image. Hopefully this one is the right one. Is it? Nope, it didn't do it. So we're going to go to images here. We're going to see if we can happen to find that image here, right? Because somebody feels that we need to go right back over statistics again. And the craziest part is I've gone over, I'm not even going to go through and like read all of these statistics like I did before. So I'm just going to put it like this for Joe directly up here. The reason that you see this European guy with the smiling face, the pearly whites, the perfect hair, the reason why you see him directly up there is because the overwhelming amount of the stats directly up there are in your favor. And these are the crime stats that you wanted to talk about, Joe. You wanted to say, like, hey, bro, if 12% of the population decided to segregate, that's good news for every other race. Let's look at those crime stats. I like black people, but y'all are so entitled. Joe, tell me this. Tell me, why is it that your jersey is hanging in the rafters 95 to 98% of the time? Explain that to me, Joe. Explain that to me. Now, again, like I said before, I can be honest, right? I can sit up there and list that if we look directly at the stats, right? Because the main thing that you guys like to highlight is like, oh, but look at the black people. Look at you guys like the murder. You're right, Joe. You got that. We got the murder. We got the robbery, right? Let me see what else we have directly up here. I think we got like one other stat somewhere directly up here. I can't, really seem to find it, oddly enough. But the overwhelming stats that are directly up here, Joe. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. So let's go back to the things that y'all mainly like to focus on. Oh, but the murder rate is so high because of this. You're right. We got the murder rate, right? We got that. We can hold that, right? Then we also have the robbery, right? We'll also hold that L as well too. And then if we look to the second column, almost to the close to the very bottom, like fourth to the bottom, it says gambling. Black people have that as well. So we got murder, we got robbery, we got gambling. Joe, so out of all three of those stats, explain to me who's taking up the rest of those numbers. It seems like it's white folks. But at the end of the day, you don't want to focus on that, right? You don't want to focus on the overall of the stats, right? You guys only want to focus on the murder because you think that black people are just murdering everybody directly out here. But you don't want to encompass the fact that historically we have nothing on you at all. What about all the bombs that you sat up there and dropped? Let's look at Japan, for instance, right? Look at all of that took place. Let's go back over to Europe during the Holocaust. Look at all of the many bodies slain, just laying there. Let's look at the African Holocaust. Europeans, look at all of the bodies slain. Better yet, let's go about to King Leopold of Belgium II, and what was said to be about the 10 to 15 or maybe even upwards to 20 million of the Congolese that were slain because they weren't able to produce the amount of rubber that was needed, right? And that was just only a few areas. Now, if I want to go to the extent of talking about the United States as a whole at this current time, let's look at the many wars that your government, your own people, Europeans, whites, pagans, let's look at all of that violence that you guys have caused. All of your kids that have been sacrificed and thrown directly into the fray for a lie. Let's look at that. But you're not going to do that, though, right? Because it's a lot easier to point the finger and to look at, look at what black people aren't doing. This is what you guys need to sit up there and fix. This is what you guys need to actually focus in on. Again, it's a lot easier to look at everybody else versus looking at yourselves. Again, Joe, I'm just trying to figure out who's at fault for the trillions of dollars that America is currently in debt of at this moment in time. Who's at fault for that? That's all I'm trying to figure out. Matter of fact, I got something real quick. Since we are on the whole topic of dealing with debt, hopefully this actually shows up correctly. If it does, it's great. If it doesn't, well, it is what it is. So we're going to use this. We're going to go to the browser. So what you're looking at the moment in time, Joe, because we're going to, move this along onto a different topic because, we're talking about different things here, right? We're going to look at the debt, right? This is what the debt clock looks like at this moment in time. I wish I could actually get this to fully show. Let's see if we can get this. No, that's not it. let's see. Maybe I would have to do this a different way as a source, right? Just to look at the debt. Where don't worry. Just give me a little bit here, guys. A little bit of a snafu, technical difficulty. You know. Let's see. What can we do? I might have to do window capture, maybe. So let me just pull this out of the window, right? And do it like that. So then there we go. And all right, there we go. So we're going to do it like that. And we should be able to give you guys the window capture because again, I know that a lot of people like to talk about facts. They want to talk about stats and all these other types of great things, right? So this is what the debt clock looks like, and this is live. This is running. People can clearly go to it if they really want to, and happen to check it out for themselves, right? This is something that is directly online. So I'm just trying to figure out, because we tend to always talk about Black people and stats and how it is that certain things are transpiring and taking place. This is a lot of debt, Joe. This is a lot of debt. And remember, you just said yourself that Black people encompass what, 13% of the population? So we're not even a lot. So who's taking up a lot of this debt here? Who's the causation of it? Because you can't say the 13% are causing trillions of dollars worth of debt. You can't say that, Joe. So who is the cause? Who's the cause? That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm really asking. It's crazy. Boss said the crime rate isn't on us, a very small part we play. I'm not exactly sure, who you're specifically talking about. General Friend said 13% does 56%. Hold on, let me just roll this back real quick because some people don't want to, happen to, pay attention, right? So again, I said that we got the murder rate, we got robbery, we got gambling. We have 3 out of all of the stats that you see listed here at this moment in time that are highlighted. Black people have 3 of those stats. Explain to me who's the other part of the population that make up the majority who are taking up the majority of the rafters. Explain that to me. Explain that to me. Just have a gander. Just have a gander. just have a gander. I'm just asking a question. Who's making up the greater majority of the debt? Who's making up the greater majority of the debt? And who's doing the majority of the crimes? Now, 313 Joey, what is up? Much love, respect, and appreciation. You said out of that 56, how many were wrongfully arrested and released? Oh, trust me, I've done videos on how it is that a lot of Black men have been exonerated and had their records expunged because those are crimes that they did not commit. They were lied on. They were arrested under false pretenses, right? They were coerced into some type of proof of quote unquote doing a crime when really they weren't the ones that did the crime. Matter of fact, I even showcased a video where a police officer was making hundreds of traffic stops, and a lot of those traffic stops, he was planting narcotics on people, including his own people. But do you think Joe would care anything about that? No, he wouldn't care nothing about that. Because in his mind and his community, they all feel that, hey, Black Americans, this is you. This is you. General Friend said 13% does 56%. It's diabolical work how a lot of people don't want to pay attention. Uh-oh, here we go. Do you know what per capita is? Yes, and that's the same argument that you guys like to bring up every single time. Every single time, right? So Joe, right? Because you want to talk about the per capita, right? So what's the per capita on this debt that we see in the United States? We got the debt clock here. It is currently running. It is currently moving. As I think you might be able to see it. Not really too sure at this moment in time, but again, anybody can look up the debt clock and happen to see what's happening. Um, okay, now it's running because I didn't have the window specifically up. So now you guys can see it running. You see the debt clock moving. You see it running. All of that. Per capita wise, who's taking up all of this debt? Who's caused this trillions of dollars worth of debt? Because we're talking about per capita, right? No problem. You're saying that per capita, my stats are incorrect, and pretty much black people are all over the stat boards. You guys are innocent. You don't commit no crimes. You do no wrong. Fine, no problem. We're going to go off of that basis, right? You guys, as white Americans, do nothing wrong, commit no crimes. Fine, right? So that's the base that we're going to work on, right? So from that base of you guys being the angelic angels and the gods that you are, who are the ones that are the causations of the debt that I'm looking at? And again, this clock is running. This clock is running at this moment in time. As I'm moving my mouth, these numbers are sitting up there running by the millisecond. So explain to me, Joe, who's doing this? Simple question. Very, very, very simple question. Like I said, it's crazy work out here. Shouldn't be that difficult. Like I said, you should be able to tell me something. Like it's crazy out here. 60% of the violent crimes. Do you actually know who is the main contributor to those violent crimes? Now, if we're gonna, let's say go off of the per capita, basis, the black community would be, doing crime within proximity to their own, right? Because again, I've done videos and live streams where I've gone over the different areas in the United States and the black populations there. And the craziest part is where even if you have a population of, let's say, 0.1% of black people, in the overall majority is still white Americans, people will still sit up there and try to say that 0.1% of the population is making up all of the crime in that state. And I'm like, how does that work? That doesn't even make any type of sense at all. That literally makes no type of sense at all. But yet here we are. This is what people like to do. This is how people like to sit up here and talk, because they don't want to specifically talk about any of this. General Friend said, gotta be pretty violent group for 12% of the population dominating the murder rates. And when we're dealing with crime within proximity, yes, people have to tend to have disagreements. But the one thing I have not seen from a black person yet, and I have a video of it. I have a video of a white man that had a shootout, shooting 200 rounds at police. 200 rounds at police. Isn't that amazing? I don't think that somebody black would be alive to tell the story of being able to have that type of firepower directly aimed at police in a neighborhood. No. Something's going to happen, and it will happen. But you know what those cops did do? They ducked behind their cars. They cowered for fear. They tried to have conversations and talk them down and yada yada. The same thing that they normally do. And if memory serves me correct, that person was taken in alive, even though those officers were in danger. They were in fear of their life. Their life was under fire. They didn't know what tomorrow was going to look like, and every second counted. But guess what? That man is still alive, even though he was trying to take the lives of those great officers that day. Do you think that Joe or Fran cares anything about that? No. Do you think that they care about any of the men in their communities doing any of the crimes against their families? No. You know what they are going to focus on, though? They're going to make sure to focus in on, but look at the blacks. Oh, look at how violent you guys are. You guys are dominating the murder rate. And that's the only thing that they can talk about, is always the murder rate. All the rest of the stats magically don't matter. When we talk about the debt and the debt ceiling, seemingly that doesn't matter. They don't care nothing about that. It's always about the murder rate, guys. Again, look at who's focusing, quote unquote, on race. I thought America's debt was, America's debt. But again, we're only 13%. So it's impossible for black people to contribute. What were we at? Almost like close to like $40 trillion in debt as a country? How is that possible? Black people couldn't do that. Like you guys always say, black people don't got money. We don't got jobs. There's not enough thievery or crime that black people could do to take $40 trillion away from the United States. But you got corporations and people who are running those like Enron, where they rob the American people. You had Bernie Madoff, who robbed people for millions and billions of dollars, and many more companies directly out here. But again, you don't want to talk about that. It's crazy. It's 100% crazy. Diabolical. But it is what it is. Da, da, da. Yes. Black people have conviction rates that are higher than most of the populace. Yes, but historically, why is that? Historically, why is that? But y'all don't want to talk about that. Y'all don't want to talk about historically why is it that black people, I'm sorry, more specifically, black men have been more criminalized than any other group out here. Even if it comes down to a black guy doing the same crime as a white man, guess what? Guess who's going to jail or prison for more time? It's not you. And I've covered those stories before. But again, you don't want to happen to talk about that. Don't want to talk to you about that. And again, the only thing that y'all keep basically talking about is per capita, right? But not looking at any of the other stats, not looking at any of the news stories that are specifically coming out of your communities, of your people committing all of these crimes. Don't want to focus in, don't want to talk nothing about that at all. So, right? So if 13% are doing whatever crime, right? So that means that 13% should be the main majority of this debt. We should pretty much be all of the debt because white people don't cause debt, right? Correct? So let me know. Just asking. He said he has no answer on why blacks are so violent. In general, let me just put this to a generalized fashion because I know that you're racist anyway. In general, humanity is a violent child, just to be real, but to more so encompass this into a different area, right? So if black people supposedly came from Africa and your forefathers or those generations literally built these big old ships in order to go to and from months or years in between in order to get black people in order to do this slave trade and bring them to the Americas, to the Caribbeans, to South America, all this other type of stuff, right? If we ourselves had to get taught certain types of things, what else do you think that we were taught? Right? Everything is learned from home. Right. So we don't know where our home is because you took us directly from that. So our new home, because you guys had us as slaves, we were in a sense your children. So we're watching what our parents, quote unquote, what our teachers are doing, which is you in America, right? How is it that you guys got and took America? You did it by force. You didn't do it by peace. You had to sit up there and do some slick maneuvering. You had to take out a lot of people almost into extinction. You had to use biological agents, aka biological warfare. You had to lie and manipulate. You had to also take other people's statuses in order to claim their land as yours. This is historical facts. This is specifically what you guys did. So if black people in turn are the violent individuals that you say that we claim, that you claim for us to be, we learn from the best. We're not there yet, but we learn from the best. Again, who are the main individuals out here who run nukes, who create all of these armaments, all of these weapons? Matter of fact, who are the ones who are in control at this moment in time running the government? Because mind you, what is it, Joe, Fran, and all of you other individuals here, you do realize that your government has a lot more bullets and armaments per capita, per American person directly out here. They have more than enough bullets to take out countries, and you still haven't asked yourself, why is it that they have all of these armaments? Why is it that they're making in mass production all of these bullets as if they're preparing for something internally? Your own people are literally giving you movies. They're giving you hints directly out there at what is to come, how a crisis and how chaos is going to run rampant in the United States. And guess what? At that time, you're not going to be able to run on these stats and, oh, the reason that America is this and that, and because we're collapsing is because of the blacks. No, no, champ. It's going to be because of you. All of this fear, all of this stuff, minus the stats and everything that you guys want to talk about and list here, at the end of the day, the main thing that you guys fear or have been made to fear, which is black people, is the wrong thing. And I've been saying this since day one of me doing this. Even some of your own children who are far right are coming out and stating that the elites and the billionaires have misled them into believing that blacks are the causation of this, that, and the third, when realistically it was them the whole time. And you are still here on this platform, still speaking on the previous talk of how it is that they trained you and how it is that they misguided you. And you can't even sit up here and see the obvious on how it is that the elites who look like you, who are rich, who are wealthy, who are willing to sacrifice you, the same ones who created the Georgia Stone, who stated that the population is to be no more than 500 million, those same folks are the same ones leaving you destitute, leaving you poor, who took away your factory jobs back in the 2000s and shipped them everywhere else, leaving a lot of your Appalachia, all of your small towns, and a lot of your cities jobless, forcing you guys on government assistance, which you guys want to make black people the poster children for. When we all know that if you look back far enough, you can see fields of white men directly working all of these factory jobs, making America great, as you guys like to say, making all of these cars, making all of these things that we used to buy, that we used to be so proud of. And now there's nothing to be proud of, because guess what? When you look at every single box on the cell phone that you're on the tablet, on the computer, anything that you got pretty much in your house, including your kids' apple juice, is not even from America. It's from somewhere else. I thought we had farms. I thought we grew apples and oranges, and because, like I said, I worked in stock. I worked at Whole Foods. So when I sat up there and saw a bag of apple juice where it said that this is coming from Venezuela, Korea, it was coming even from Russia. It was coming from China. It was coming from all these other places but America. But yet you guys want to sit here and you want to argue me down about per capita, and you want to bring up the crimes and all of this. You guys are ignorant. And this is why when everything comes to the front, when everything happens and it hits your doorstep, it's going to be you that's going to have to fix it at the end of the day. At the end of the day. And you're still not going to want to take accountability for it. You're still not going to want to take accountability for all of the actions, for all of the blood that is directly on your hands at this moment in time. Joe said, keep drinking your delusional Kool-Aid. Yeah, rich people lying to us caused it. If you ain't in the 1%, you don't care. I guess so. I guess so. You're still not taking accountability for how it is that your own people are doing this and allowing this to take place, stealing your jobs. Black people ain't steal your jobs. Black people ain't ruin your small towns, your coal towns, your factory towns, and all this other type of stuff. We didn't strip those jobs away from you. It was your own people who told you that, hey, we're going to take this from you, but just note that you're just this much better than the black people out here. Even though you don't got nothing, you're this much better. It's crazy work. It's crazy work. Diabolical. Yes, Joe, we know that you're gone. It's completely cool and fine. You said you've had your fun. I guess because I brought up that debt clock, there's no rebuttal for that. It's crazy. Diabolical work. General Friend said, I'm at your mama's house. I mean, I guess so. Let me know where that is. Since you're there, let me know where that house is, where it's located, what it looks like. Let me know that. Let me know that. It's crazy work. It also sounds like you're from like the 360 era, so I pretty much can date and tell how old you are. Just let you know. That's something that I would use on 360. Crazy work. Boss said he could be a bot. I mean, yeah, it could be a bot, but like I said, bots should be able to read and analyze this deck clock real quick. Should be able to, do that. Joe said, okay, so leave then. Go good, live in Africa. Can you spell? Are you even American at this moment in time? Because it's like I'm not sure what you're using at this moment in time, but for God's sakes, get your stuff correct before you decide that you want to type to me and you want to, try to soapbox. Like, this is crazy to me. It's 100%. Oh, matter of fact, I forgot. I did tell you guys that I did have another video, right? And that it was dealing with the Caucasian Americans, right? I forgot for the life of me. I'm so sorry. I lose it sometimes every now and again. So let me go to this young white man here. Let's see what he has to say.
What radicalized you? I'll tell you what radicalized me. When I was in 8th grade, my dad came home from a miserable, terrible, grueling day at work and said, hey, put your shoes on. We have to go to the school board meeting. Now, I'd never been to a school board meeting, didn't even really know what they were for, but what I did know is that my school had just implemented a policy that anyone could get a free lunch at school regardless of financial status. Rich kid gets a free lunch, poor kid gets a free lunch, paid for by the taxpayer. Now, 8th grade me thought that was a real good deal. I still think that, and I thought then that anybody with a rational brain cell would think the same. But we got to that school board meeting, and I watched as the same people that I saw at Sunday church every Sunday stood up in front of the board and talked about how this was a terrible thing and that they were all shelling out for all these people that didn't need a free lunch. And then I watched as my dad, the strongest, hardest working man I've ever known in my entire life, I mean, he could bend a horseshoe in half with his bare hands, my dad stood up and said, hey, I know exactly what it feels like to be the kid that needs the free lunch. I grew up on free lunch. And I also know exactly what it feels like to feel the stigma behind that in your classmates. He said, if you have a problem with paying for these free lunches, you can bill me. And then he looked at the school board and said, thank you for your time, and we left. Now, 8th grade me thought, well, maybe it's just a problem in my slack-jawed yokel of a hometown. But the more I've grown up, the more I've seen that this is not just a problem in 2,000 people towns. It's a problem nationwide, and that the same people that are having these problems are the same people that are at church every Sunday. That's what radicalized me.
So that young white man basically stated that his dad wanted to stand up and help his community, that he understood what it meant to be without, the fact that a lot of these governments want to take away the free lunches directly from the people. And again, he was stating from his small town, so we all know that black people aren't there. So he's talking about specifically his people, his community. And his dad was like, you know what? If you don't want to specifically give or use whatever monies that you have allotted, if you don't want to use that for the people to give them those free lunches, then you can bill me. Take it directly from me in order to give to these people. Do you think that Joe or friend would care anything about what this young white male has to state about how it is that his own government is doing that specifically to his people, to his community? No. Do you think that they would actually speak up and speak against that? No. The only reason or the only way that something like this would actually matter or be directly on their radar is if black people were the causation. If black people were the ones taking up all of the school lunches and the government benefits, then they would care. But when you have this young man sitting up here on a platform trying to educate and trying to inform people about what's happening in his own area, what it is that he was able to see, it's silence. They don't care. And these are the same people that like to say that, oh, we should get over race, we're all one people, and yada, 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 all this type of good stuff, go back to Africa. Like I said, they don't actually care because it's a lot easier to focus on other people versus focusing in on the problems that your own people are specifically the causation of. Now, again, shout out to his dad for trying to feed his people, for trying to help out his community, because obviously the government or the elected officials that they got sitting there in office did not care, didn't want to sit up there and do anything. And shout out to this young man for bringing awareness to this and wanting to do better than obviously a lot of people that are clearly trolling in this comment section at this moment in time. And again, not caring about actual situations. It's crazy. And then you got Joe that wants to come up here talking about cell phone electricity. This is what white people made, da da da. You guys are being hustled. Again, like I said before, give you guys enough line, and you're going to sit up there and show exactly who it is that you are. But the funniest thing is, not too long ago, I did a video on Africa on how the actual cities look. This is how I know that you're indoctrinated, and this is how I know that you're ignorant and you're void of a lot of information and knowledge. Because the funniest thing is, if Africa was so void, and these are black-run nations, countries that are there on that continent, right? So if a lot of these places were void of this, that, and the third, like you're saying, then why would white Americans be going over there to live, to escape from America? Huh. Don't want to talk about that one. Don't want to talk about the fact that you got a lot of white Americans going over there to African areas to live like kings, because they can't do that here. Because guess what? The American system is not built for you, in a sense, to live like a king and a queen. They're not going to allow your money to sit up there and stretch the way that you feel that it should stretch. They're not going to allow you over that debt ceiling of which they've in place directly on you. You, no matter how much you want to come on here and you want to tell me to go back to Africa, you want to debate over stats and whatnot or whatever, you're a slave at the end of the day. The same way that black people are made to be slaves and brought directly over here, and we were put in captivity, is the exact same way that now you yourselves are being placed. The only difference is you don't got the bells, the whistles, the chains, the dogs, and all. Well, technically you do have the dogs, you got the police, but it's to a limited extent. But your social security, your birth certificate, those are your work papers, because you are a slave. The government has clearly devalued your money. They have clearly taken away a lot of your rights. They have clearly given more rights to other people versus you, right? But yet, again, you want to try to state directly on here that black people are the problem. Oh, look at the murder stats. You're cherry picking. You're doing this. You're doing that. But again, I'm showing you an overarching thing, and you guys are still focused on 1 to 3 things. You don't even want to look at the larger scope of the bigger picture and how it is that you're getting screwed out of everything. And again, you want to list that, oh, white people sat up there and did this and did that. Well, guess what? The Asian man is sitting up there doing all of that now. Your cell phone. Who made that? Because you're either using an Android or you're using an iPhone. Guess what? Both of those are made in China. Both those are Asian companies. Well, except for Apple. But even though Apple was American, it's still made over there in China or in an Asian area. Your computers, laptops, electronics, yada, yada, yada. You can say that you invented or you did this, but guess who has control over that? If the Asian population wanted to, and they were like, hey, we're going to stop making a lot of the tech for America. Pretty much we're going to stop making 100%. It will be over. It will be over. It will be severely problematic. America would really have to sit up there and pick up the pace. We would really have to now start opening up factories. And guess what? Who's going to put up the money to build those factories? And then what corporations are going to put up the money to, pay those people and worry about the insurance and the sick leave and the premiums? They're not going to do that. They would rather, again, outsource and give that money to other people that they have to pay less and not pay you. But yet you want to sit here and be stupid. It's some crazy work. It's crazy work. And then the other craziest thing is to know the fact that you guys are heavily on government assistance. And it's a lot of your own people that voted for Trump that are coming out here. And I've showed those videos too. They're now just realizing that, hey, the benefits and stuff that he's attacking, that he's taking away, it's affecting them too. Well, no duh. Because they sat up there and brainwashed y'all and made y'all think that, oh, government assistance, that's only black people. Because every single white American, you guys are either working or retired. That's it. It's everybody else. It's mostly the blacks. They take up 100% of the government assistance, Medicaid, Medicare, 100%. Chappie said, are you multi-streaming? Yes, I am at this moment in time. And we currently have 194 people with both channels in combination. Much love, respect, and appreciation. Much love, much love. It's crazy. You said Dylan Roof was taken into custody and given a hot meal before booking. Yeah, he was. I think they gave him some Burger King to let him know he did a good job. Yeah, they did that. Yep. Sarah said that's why no one wants to live in black neighborhoods, not even the blacks. You know, the funny part is, coming from a black neighborhood, I've been seeing white people come around and try to buy houses. Explain that to me, Sarah. These aren't Europeans. These aren't Russians. They are not Ukrainians. Why are you guys coming to a black neighborhood? And again, this is a neighborhood that I grew up in. I live there. My friends are there. Their families are still there. Miss Dean, who was the block president for numerous amounts of years, is still there, at least at this moment in time, from what I understand. Right? A lot of the black people there, they are educators in ways of teaching, maybe even college. A lot of these people were, retired. They might be lawyers, doctors. They might still work in the factories, what have you. But all of these black people have those homes in that black community. And I know a lot of their kids. And I grew up with them, went to school with them. And magically, at the recent point in time, I saw groupings of white people coming directly to that black neighborhood to come and scout out and buy houses. Now, Sarah, if everything that you're stating is supposed, and again, I'm coming from Detroit, right? Born and raised from Detroit on the west side. So if everything that you're stating is true, why would I see white people coming to a black community to try to get houses? Why is that? Because don't tell me it's to invest. What are you investing in? Because you guys normally state that we just destroy, we burn down everything, so there's nothing there, right? So that would be a dumb investment. You would actually want to invest in other communities, such as the Asian, the Arab population. Shout out there to Dearborn, who has the highest Asian population out of the United States. You would want to invest in those homes. You would want to invest in the Jewish homes, right? And a lot of other cultures. You would not want to invest in black homes because it would be a loss of money, correct? So again, Sarah, how is that possible? Explain that to me. It's a little bit weird. Because again, I'm looking at somebody who doesn't know anything of which that they're talking about. It's crazy. It's diabolical. Prince said we're 90 million strong. Yeah, you got some people that are not properly counted. Gail said, ain't it wild how you have to pay to live on God's land? Yeah. Yeah. It's diabolical work. What was that? Good old boy said, talk about black on black crime. You mean crime within proximity? Because there's no such thing as white on white crime. I've never once, on any type of threat, out of my 20 some odd years of being online, I've never once heard white people talk about, how about that white on white crime? Because y'all don't brand it like that. You know why? Because you were taught not to do that. Because why? Nobody's going to actually buy that. Nobody's going to advertise if you got the title as white on white crime. This is why specifically you guys will be in newspapers. You would say, man did this, man committed this crime, man robbed this person, man committed this act. This is how we would know who it is that you guys are specifically talking about. But if we talk about the same crimes and you turn around, you'll say black man did said crime. Black man committed such act. Black man did this, black man did that. Because you would want to specify and let people know and to differentiate that in this one column, a man did this. And we know who that is because we know who's writing the newspapers. And then in the other kind of column and branding, you guys want to sit up there and say that, oh, you got black men that did this. Crazy work. It is crazy work. Let me see. What else do we got here? Uh-oh, Sarah's like, the blacks will be living in mud huts without us. It's like you guys have the exact same like talking points. It's like it's gonna either be the same talking points dealing with Africa when you yourself don't even know a lot about Africa, which shows, or then you guys talk about slavery, which you guys like to say didn't exist, is not even historically accurate. And then you guys move on to talking about the crimes, and then Democrat run cities and black cities, and y'all, it's like the same talk. And I've seen y'all talk about the same thing like for the last 20, 30, 40, whatever years. Like y'all don't have nothing new. It's literally the exact same things time and time again, and it's crazy work. Like I said before, if these are bots, I need y'all to up it, because even Chat GPT and all these other types of AI, like they've upped themselves, they've upgraded. I need y'all to upgrade real quick. It's crazy. Diabolical work. Yo, Glow Rick, what is up? What is up? What is up? Much love, respect, and appreciation. Sarah said, don't use YouTube, the iPhone, or the internet, Negro. You don't shop at Walmart. Those are white people's creations. What are you even talking about? What are you even talking about? What are you talking about? You do realize that basically China owns the United States. Let me just go back real quick, because Sarah wants to be stupid and she wants to show her low-browed racism out here. Sarah, tell me who committed this debt. Tell me that. Who contributed to this debt? Let me know. Let me know. Yeah, yo, what's up, Mo? Sitting in the back said, we've had all night live streams about them exploding nuclear weapons in the atmosphere. Yeah, that's facts. You said, Savage said, my forefathers are from Sweden. They are not a part of what you're talking about. You generalize like the Hicks you're arguing against. Um, Actually, no. If you know that I'm not talking about you, you should know I'm not talking about you. So why throw your forefathers, or whoever it is that you're specifically talking about, in this conversation? Because I'm clearly talking about American politics. I'm clearly talking about the stuff that is happening here, and the other stuff that I did bring up dealing with Europe. I specifically stated King Leopold of Belgium. I clearly stated things that happened by way of Germany and the history that happened there, right? I specifically stated certain things. So again, how people conceptualize that, oh, he's specifically talking about me and my people. If I didn't specifically point you out, if I wasn't specifically stating you, then obviously I wasn't talking about you. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like I said, just stating, like I said, I'm still looking. Unseen is like, topic is an endless argument of race that will never be resolved. Obviously, I talked about more than just race here, but that's the only thing that you can seemingly grasp onto. I literally mentioned and talked about other things that don't even have to be race specific, that I can generalize to the whole of the human or the American populace. But here you are saying that this is just a race based whatnot or whatever, at least for this part of the conversation. Because again, when I was talking about the Latins, I was being very specific. I was pointing out things directly there. Again, something that you can't even understand. At this point, you're just going to have to let America play out as it is. Yeah. Yep. Let me see what else we got. I'm trying to catch up to the comments here. LBJ used the same tactics to get poor white folks to become Democrat. A lot of presidents use a different types of tactics, but it is what it is. Let me see. What do we got here? Yeah, yeah. You can obviously tell that some of these are bots by the consistent comments that they're leaving, especially some of the ones that are back to back. Let me see what else we got there. Them church going, yeah. Let me see. Love Lisa said, I have Spanish people married in my family, and they are ashamed about the disrespect from their people towards Black people. Do better, Latinos and Latinas. That's facts. But like I said, only so few people are actually going to be honest directly about that. But let's keep going. I got one more video here. Let me see if I can find this this true American here that's trying to explain to a young American something that's taking place and happening.
Also, everybody says in the comments, Project 2025, didn't you read that? That's his platform.
Hey, Skylar, my name's Will Westmoreland, and I'm a farmer down in Southwest Missouri. And I just wanted to reach out to you and tell you that I am not an FAFO kind of guy. We probably disagree with each other on everything political, but there's a very specific reason why people are getting upset with you. And I wanted to explain that to you if you'd be willing to listen to an older guy kind of walk you through the process. Now, I'm not an FAFO guy because I know what's going to happen to poor people, the elderly, children, single moms, and over 250 million people every night around the world that go to bed hungry if the American farmer and rancher is run out of business because of Trump's policies. And that's what I want to explain to you tonight if you'll listen to me. I also wanted to let you know I sent you a private message. And if you ever want to get on the phone and you want to talk about the issues that Trump is forwarding that are bad for agriculture, I'd be willing to do that, and I'd be willing to listen to your arguments as well. I also want to let you know that I've been a political consultant for over 30 years. I want to be right up front about that. I do that in addition to farming. And I want you to know a lot of younger people don't know, and I don't mean that in a condescending way, but more of an educational way. A lot of younger people don't know that right-wing talk radio and news, the pundits, the talking heads, and right-wing talk radio, etc., have been working for over 40 years to develop in rural people exactly the kinds of ideas that you have in your head, that all politicians are crooks, that they're all the same, that you can't trust traditional media, that anything you hear that comes out of Washington, D.C. or New York or the New York Times or CBS News, that it's all a lie. And they did this on purpose, and they started with Ronald Reagan. We used to have what's called a fairness doctrine in this country, where if you were a radio station or a television station and you were using the public airwaves to present a message, we had a fairness doctrine where you were required by law to share the other side of the story. And President Ronald Reagan, who was president when I was in high school and a little bit younger than that, had the fairness doctrine eliminated. He had it taken out of the books. And there was a specific reason for that. It was designed so that organizations like Fox News and right-wing talk radio could start spreading the lie that all mainstream media was bad. Now, this was during the time of Walter Cronkite and Dan Rather, all the other news heads that we had out there that were highly respected. But it was a strategy to make it so that the airwaves no longer had to present an unbiased case. And then these right-wing media sources like Rush Limbaugh and Fox News, etc., began pouring it on to rural America. You can't trust politicians. You can't trust the news. And what they did is they focused on destroying the trust in these institutions so that they could replace it with another institution. And they did that. They replaced it with Fox News. They replaced it with right-wing talk radio. And I can't tell you how many times when I was growing up, when I was your age, I'd walk into a job site or be on a farm and I would hear right-wing talk radio blaring on the radio all day long. And then after they had destroyed our faith in media institutions in rural America, they then turned their guns toward the government itself. And they began building in us a distrust of government organizations. And Skylar, here's the facts, okay? You can look this up on your own, but these are the facts. Rural America uses more welfare than the blue cities do. Rural America needs more help feeding our children. We need more help keeping our hospitals open. And guys like you and I, farmers out there that grow row crops or do agroforestry or raise cattle, we take welfare too. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with that because we can't control the cost of our inputs. We can't control the cost of what we sell our products for. We got to pay for shipping both ways, as Kennedy said.
Now, let me just pause it right there. That farmer, who is obviously more than likely older than a lot of people that are in this chat trying to debate me, he said, even as a farmer, even as a hard worker, they take welfare as well. Now, somebody will have to explain to me why would he have to lie about any of that? Because again, the poster children that they decide to sit up there and tell you in the United States who take up all of the welfare is only the black community. That's what they like to tell you. But you have a farmer, somebody that pretty much works and feeds America, right? That grows the necessary goods and things that we need every single day. And he's sitting up here telling you that, hey, we take welfare because there are certain other things that we can't sit up here and control. But like I said, a lot of people don't want to pay attention.
But the reality of the situation is they were able to instill in us the idea that the government money coming to us was okay and was a good thing, but the government money going everywhere else was a scam or a sham or communistic or socialistic, etc. So it reached a fever pitch finally where a lot of rural people, over 70% of rural farmers and ranchers, only believe the Fox Newses and the talk radio. And when they came to you and told you that Trump wasn't going to implement Project 2025 and that he didn't have anything to do with it, you believe that. And you're not alone. All I'm here to tell you is that you were lied to. I'm not asking you to admit you were wrong. I'm not telling you you effed around and found out, because I don't want to see you lose your farm. And if there's anything I can do to help you not lose your farm, I'd be happy to do it. But in the distrust that you built up for government over time, and due to the fact that you didn't think mainstream media was reliable anymore, and you began listening to the news sources that tried to convince you every day that Project 2025 was not a Trump deal, even though many, many people on his campaign worked for Project 2025, they put it together, they helped write it. There was an entire section on agriculture. And in that section on agriculture, they specifically say they're going to cut out programs like this. Then they're going to cut out crop insurance. And Donald Trump is on record, my friend. And Skylar, look this up. Don't take anything I'm telling you at face value. You look it up. That's the difference between me and a lot of people on here. Check what I've said. Make sure I'm not lying to you. But Donald Trump is on record saying that corporate farming is better than small family farms and ranches. And Skylar, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to corporatize agriculture. And I'm not talking about when you and I go out and put together an LLC so that we can get the tax benefits and the protections from liability that come with that. I'm talking about big ag corporations in Wall Street buying up family farms and ranches as they go out of business so that they can turn it into just another investment. In the last 10 years, we've broken every single record in regard to the number of farms and ranches being bought up by investment companies in the United States. And I'd be happy to share all of that data with you. But my friend, I think the worst thing that they did to us in rural America is they convinced us somehow to place the culture wars over our own well-being. And what do I mean by that? Brother, when I was young, you didn't care what anybody did in their bedroom. Gay, lesbian, trans, whatever. That was their life. And the only way the law changed was just to say that you can't discriminate against those people when you're hiring, and you can't commit acts of hate against them because they're different than you and I as heterosexual white men. That's all the law did. And Skylar, did you know that the Southern Baptist Convention, and I was a Southern Baptist for a long time, do you know that the Southern Baptist Convention had its own clauses in their charter that said that abortion was okay in the event that it saved the life of the mother or the child might be deformed? But it was political hacks in the religious Christian movement that came in and politicized the abortion topic in order to get folks like you and I in rural America to turn against it. So I'm not here to tell you F-A-F-O, brother. I know how hard you work every day, and I know what you're trying to do for your family because I'm doing the same thing. And you may listen to what I have to say, and you may just think this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. But I hope you'll listen to it with an open mind And I hope you'll double check and research what I've told you, because the truth of the matter is we've been lied to. So at this stage, I'm not even asking you to say you were wrong. I'm just asking you to admit that you were lied to. Trump was forwarding Project 2025. He just hired the guy to oversee cost and contracts in the federal government that wrote Project 2025. We were lied to, my friend. And nobody's going to judge you if you just admit that you were lied to and you made decisions based on the fact that you thought these contracts were going to be kept and that you were lied to. And then the next step is get involved with us to fight back. It doesn't make you a Democrat. It doesn't make you a turncoat. It just means you see wrong when it occurs and you fight back against it. Anyway, I hope that makes sense, and have a great day.
You know, the funniest thing about that old man is that he would be one of the few that would actually go out on a limb. And again, he's not in his youth anymore. He's not as strong as he used to be able to be, and he's not as healthy as he was either. But I can bet that he would be one of the ones that if he saw the government actually doing something that was horribly affecting the American people, he will be one of the main ones that will want to be on the front lines to try to protect, to try to actually do something, to try to be proactive, while a lot of other people would just sit back and do nothing. He's stating, at least from everything that he was able to witness and see and understand, and like he said before, you can go look it up. A lot of people, even when it deals with information, you can give people the books, you can give people the sources, and then people still question those sources, those books, who wrote them, who paid for them. So at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter what the source is or who specifically put it out there. If people don't want to believe it, they're not going to sit up there and believe it. The same thing with this elderly gentleman here. With the information of the library of information that he has, because he's been around a lot longer, so he can retain and remember a lot of these things as it actually happened, versus a lot of people having to go research and look it up and try to find out the times and the dates and who was here and who was this. He is coming from the source of that time and trying to educate and say, like, hey, it is what it is. If you just so happen to have made a mistake, it's cool. I don't see you one way or the other. It's just a simple fact that as a human being, you realize that, hey, I messed up, and now it's time to try to, fix whatever the situation is for the betterment of everybody. Right. And that's a lot of what I got from this man here. That he wants to just have people that, hey, if you really understand, if you see what's going on and you realize that, hey, you messed up, you made the wrong decision, that, hey, we need to sit up there and come together, because at the end of the day, we're all going to sit up here and lose. Right? Because if it's just him out here fighting, if it's just him trying to point this out, if it's just him out here speaking, guess what? Everybody is going to sit up here and lose. That's the main thing. But a lot of people don't care. A lot of people would rather go back and forth. A lot of people would rather sit there and argue, as a lot of these millionaires and billionaires in government are able to make all of these laws, these back deal doors, while they got these lobbyists directly out there sliding money here and there in order to affect and hinder the American people in a multitude of negative ways. Even as I've stated before, to put it like this, East Palestine, Ohio, look it up, because everybody's talking about sources. Go type into your phone, East Palestine, Ohio, and look at the news that comes up. Look at how it is that chemical explosion took place. And also try to figure out those chemicals. Again, I did a whole video detailing the chemicals that were on those trains and how they would have adverse reactions to humans, to their bodies, to their breathing, respiratory, all of that. Right. And then I also showcased the fact that before that even took place, again, there was a movie that was, in a sense, similar to the exact same occurrence that took place. Trying to warn people, trying to talk about it. Brought up the whole fact of the government dealing with the water in Flint, Michigan, and how it is that the government wanted to do this and that to the American people, and how Moses West, a black man who was a military veteran, came up and used his own money on a machine that he produced to make clean water, how that was sabotaged by people who knew how to sabotage it. Because again, the government does not want the people helping out the people. And then we'll sit up there and go over to, I don't know, Maui, and look at how the millionaires and the billionaires that are directly in Hawaii, their homes and houses didn't get burned down, but all the natives, their land was scorched. It was burned asunder. Then after that, what do we have? We got the California fires. And look at how that took place. Look at how that happened. Look at how the reservoir that was said to have hold, I think it's going to take a minute. I want to say anywhere in between 117 to 170 million gallons of water, which would have been able to help the departments there take out and control those fires a lot sooner to save a lot more lives. But yet the government there, they decided a year prior that, hey, we're going to empty the reservoir because there's a tear and we need to fix it. But they opted not to fix it. And then on top of that, you also got the electric company, again, the millionaires and the billionaires, that put on these smart devices on these homes, which even on the news, they have shown these things have led to, or quote unquote, caused, allegedly, fires. There was a video I even brought to you guys before when it dealt with California, how a woman interviewed a resident there in a neighborhood that was burned down. And the woman asked the resident, was like, hey, your house is still standing. Like, do you have a smart meter directly on your home? And they said no. They opted not to put it on the home, so they put it on a shed. If you look in the background of that video that I posted, the main thing that was burnt on his land was that shed that smart meter was hooked up to. Even somebody that was pretty well off, who had a nice home, he said that his roof was fireproof. So if anything fell, directly on that roof and it was on fire, it was completely fine and dandy. Nothing was going to happen. So he was like, the only way that this fire could have taken out this house is if it came from the sides. And he stated that on the sides of his house were basically a smart meter. So again, as I've stated before, and if people can't seem to get what it is that I've always been stating throughout a lot of these videos, is that, hey, the government got you. The government is going to do to you what you specifically allow them to do to you. But again, nobody wants to, look at the overarching problem of how it is that these people are in control of a lot of these things. So when it deals with the mindsets of a lot of people, when it deals with, like, as stated before, the media, the news, the dissemination of all of this information, when it deals with a lot of these political officials, when it deals with the food, air, and the water and the land, when it deals with a lot of the ongoings to and from the United States, it's always them. This is why, if people want to quote unquote do any research, go back and look at Trump's inauguration and look at the people that were on the left side of Trump on that stage. You will spot a lot of billionaires that are there that run a lot of high-end corporations. You'll also see the guy who ran Amazon at a moment in time. You'll see Mark Zuckerberg. You'll see Elon Musk. You'll see somebody that I think he works for Microsoft. You'll see a lot of people directly up there. But again, nobody's looking at what is taking place, how everything is placed directly on plain sight. Everybody's paying attention to, hey, this, that, and the very, very small details. Nobody's looking at the elephant directly in the room. Again, these are the things that I've talked about and I've pointed out. But to those who are not initiated or pretty much doesn't know anything about the platform, they're not going to understand, and they're not going to actually hear it. They're not going to be able to just see past anything that was stated or posted here. But to all of my other people, much love, respect, and appreciation for all of you guys, being here for the longest time possible and actually understanding and taking the time to watch a lot of the videos and the live streams for over like 5+ years. So, for some of you guys out here, it seems that, hey, it's regurgitated, but you got to sit up there and do that because you got new people that come here every single time. It is what it is. And also shout out to the one brother that he would always be here every now and again, cross-eyed cricket farming. That's also somebody that I've highlighted as well, since we're talking about farmers. That is a black farmer, and he has a lot of informational videos up there dealing with farming, putting his own, being able to produce his own eggs and putting those into, local stores and all of those things. And again, that is a black man, putting that directly out there. Oh, what was it? I forgot. And the one last thing I forgot to mention when dealing with the burning down of an area of California. I've also showcased a video where Governor Newsom, which I didn't think he was still there at the moment in time, he specifically, while amongst the flames, the smoldering ashes of the remains of what was, he was sitting there in front of the news, happy and giddy, talking about LA 2.0. And I specifically did a detailed video going through the PDF dealing with LA 2.0 that came directly from LA, coming directly from the government. And again, a lot of people want to, argue me back and forth, but they're not paying attention to everything that is happening around them. The same way that I try to tell people about these hyper grocery stores, the same way I try to tell people about these smart cities, everything is ramping up and it's happening in plain sight in front of everybody, and people still not paying attention. It's crazy. It's diabolical. I guess people will figure it out when the time comes. This is why I brought you guys a video dealing with Australia. If you want to do your research and you want to just so happen to find the resources, go on YouTube and look up Australia closing banks. When you look that up, you'll see a news report directly from an Aussie news station that is giving a report on how it is that a lot of these main banks, these main branch banks, are closing down, only leaving ATMs. Do you guys know what would happen if they only had ATMs and the city was in chaos? Somebody's going to come through and get those ATMs real quick. And guess what? Everybody in the city ain't going to have no money. So that's going to leave a lot of people destitute. That's going to leave a lot of people stranded. That's going to leave a lot of people in a situation that they're going to do things that they necessarily would not need to do if they were able to actually get to some type of money. And guess what they started doing? Because I tried to give people parallels. They did it in Australia. What have they been doing that I've been showing you guys in the United States? They've been closing down a lot of these branches. I've been talking about this for like over 2 years. So the exact same thing that's being implemented and taking place in other places around the world are happening. Gail said, "Don't end the video directly." What you want me to end it on, Gail? You want me to? Fine. I'll put the debt clock back up there, Gail. I'll put the debt clock. Flint City Limits said, "You're not lying. The government is kicking us down here in Flint, Michigan." Yeah. And another person that I highlighted that was dealing with that situation is Little Miss Flint. And it was crazy. And I had to come through on this platform and defend her because you had some celebrity females and whatnot trying to talk crazy to her. You even had other grown women trying to talk crazy to a young girl that is doing more than 90+% of adults out here. Like literally that girl for her eighth, I think, what was it, her eighth or whatnot birthday, instead of her just like, all right, I'm about to celebrate, I'm about to just have fun, do what it is that I want to do, she wanted to give back to the community. And this is why I sit up there and try to tell people, going back to what I talked about earlier about protecting the kids. This is why I'm so passionate directly about that, because a lot of these kids out here are more selfless than any adults out here. And that is straight facts. Like I said, anybody that's rolled up here that wanted to specifically state that, oh, you're always focused on race, you're not, focusing on everybody, you're doing this, you're not doing it. I've covered more kids out here with their stories that are more selfless than any of you clowns directly out here that are doing more at the age of 8 than you've ever done in your life. Like the little girl even came up with a filter so that the people in her city can actually have and drink clean water. Crazy work. And again, that's a little girl doing that. What were the adults out here doing? Nothing. Twiddling their thumbs. Not doing nothing. Still doing the same back and forth, but trying to grandstand and act like they care about everybody, but you're not actually putting in no work. It's craziness. It's diabolical. But like I said, shout out and much love and appreciation to all of those out there in Flint, to Flint City Limits. Much love, respect, and appreciation to your family out there. I know it's hard and it's difficult out there. I did quite a few live streams and videos to try to bring awareness, but when you are a black content creator and you want to talk about actual real world problems and try to get things solved, aka as some people like to say that I don't try to give solutions or help, people don't tend to show up. The same energy that I receive for a lot of these live streams where people want to go back and forth with me, they're nowhere to be seen in those live streams. They're nowhere to be seen underneath those videos. They're nowhere to be seen to donate to those people's platforms in order to actually get stuff moving so that human beings can actually have clean water, which they deserve. Because again, like I said before, the government is literally poisoning the American people, but the American people literally don't care. And in Flint, Michigan, you have a diverse group of people. You got white, black, and others directly there. And all of them are suffering equally. But like I said, you can't tell people nothing. Can't tell people nothing. But yeah, shout out to all of my mods here. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for everything that you have done, past, present, and also in the future. Much love, respect, and appreciation to anybody that has also donated to the platform, either by way of the Cash App, by way of Patreon, even being a membership, or by donating specifically through the live stream or the chats as well. Shout out to any and everybody that follows me on IG, either the Facebook page or on either one or three of the YouTube channels, on X, and so on and so on. Like I said, much love, respect, and appreciation to any and everybody that supports, and a special love and thanks to all of the haters that I have as well, that just come through just to say stuff, and that's it. Much love, respect, and appreciation, because we wouldn't have this platform to where it is at this moment in time without people like you. It's crazy work. Crazy work. But anyways, that is it for this live stream. And again, if anybody want to look up the United States debt clock, you can go to United States or usdebtclock.org, and you can see that and many other clocks as well, because I know that people want to see proof and all this. Go look it up. It's right there in front of you. Go look it up. But anyways, I will also for the 156 that are here, and especially for my moderators, the video coming out in live streams had to be a little bit slower, because we had people in the background that wanted to do some nonsense in order to try to stop some things. So I had to take a little bit of time and re-go through content, because a lot of people like to be trifling, and a lot of people want to really show their hate and to try to stop things and going into the area that is supposed to go. So they try to cause a lot of problems, and YouTube allows these problems to take place, transpire, and happen, because again, a lot of people don't like my content or hate me or whatnot or whatever, as you were clearly able to see directly in the comment section in this live stream and many others. So there we are. So again, like I said, we got a lot of things fixed now. we got a lot of things in the background fixed now. Plus, I don't even have that many videos directly up here on this channel, or even on the first channel, technically at this moment, due to you guys. But a lot of people want to hide information and don't want a lot of information to be out there. So this is why a lot of black people happen to say at the end of the day, we are standing down and stepping back from any and all situations dealing with other people, because you guys are unappreciative to the energies and the things we put directly out there, in order to not just highlight our own problems, but also to highlight other people's problems as well. So it is what it is. But yeah, let me see. That doesn't even make any sense. You didn't cook anything. I really did not even care. The only reason I even responded to you was for entertainment purposes, because it makes the live stream longer. That's it. I'm just going to be honest. If you look at the other live streams that I've done over the years, I say the exact same thing. I will pay attention to the negative comments there, because it's entertainment for other people directly there, and it helps the longevity of the live stream. That's it. I've been saying this since before you even found out what this channel was. So yeah, there is no adjustments that are going to be made at all. It's going to be the exact same thing that I've talked about over the years. But again, you wouldn't know that because you don't know anything about, any of the content here. It'd be like that. Ty said, you don't see anybody helping us in sundown towns. That's facts. That is 100% fact. But anyways, like I said, much love, respect, and appreciation. Love you guys a lot. And thank you guys for being here and taking out the time just to be here. You could have been anywhere else, but you decided to be here. And I will catch you guys in the next video and or live stream. Peace out.